Follow us everywhere. Just search Woodward Sports on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, IG, and more.
Good morning, everybody. How are you? Hope you're all having a great Monday morning. Jeff, what's up, buddy?
What's going on?
We are live here, Feldman Chevrolet of Novi, on a beautiful Monday, October 10th, and the Detroit Lions are 1-4. Yay. Woohoo. Congratulations.
Probably the worst case scenario through
Everything
5 games.
Is going well. Hey, man, I have a plan. I just need you guys to believe in me. God. 29-0. All right. Y'all know what's about to happen. 29-0. Patriots absolutely dominate the Detroit Lions in an afternoon where you force the Patriots and a rookie third-string quarterback to only punt twice. Jeff, they lose 29-0 to a Matt Patricia-led offense, which, honestly, the offense didn't do much. The defense actually did a good job of...
Yeah, 22, besides the fumble 6.
So they did well. I thought the defensive performance wasn't atrocious, but it wasn't any good. It didn't do them any favors. They did have the one interception.
Right.
It was a bad game. It was an embarrassing game. And the truth is, guys, it's not it. Sorry. I'm sorry. Ain't it? I'm not gonna come here and say you gotta fire this man. Fire Dan Campbell. We're not doing that this morning, or at least I'm not.
No, I'm not either.
But he ain't it. He looks like my 7-year-old playing Madden for the first time. He doesn't punt. He just goes for it. Oh, field goal? 40-yarder? Easy. Nah. We don't need that. 3 points? What's 3 points when you're down 6-0? Who needs that? And then it results in a fumble 6.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was the complete opposite.
Here, guys, I'll be very honest with you. Jeff, I really thought about this. You know what? I'm asking myself hard questions last night. And the truth is, you know what I know about Dan Campbell? The truth is, all I know about him is that all I have to look forward to is questionable fourth down decisions, questionable late game clock management, questionable play calling, along with 0 in-game or second half or pregame adjustments. It just doesn't exist. It doesn't exist with this coach. He can't coach. That's for certain. He really can't coach. Well, Adam, it's 22 games in. All right, 22 games in. Brian Dable and Kevin O'Connell have coached 5 games each. They have just as many wins as he does through 22 games.
Throw Robert Saleh in there.
Rookie coaches that have started only this year, that have more wins than he does this year. Matt Eberflus, Nathaniel Hackett, Dennis Allen, Doug Peterson, Mike McDaniel.
Robert Saleh.
Well, he's not a rookie coach this year, but...
Second year.
Yeah.
Like Dan Campbell, yeah.
The only rookie coach that was in... the only rookie coach that made it through the whole season, that won as many games as Dan Campbell did, was David Culley. Year 1, he was fired. And then, of course, the only rookie coach this year who has as many wins as Dan Campbell is Lovie Smith.
And they just beat the Jags.
Lovie Smith. That's where we're at this morning. That's where your Detroit Lions are at this morning. They're not a good football team. And when I say they're not a good football team, I don't mean they're talentless. I mean they are a poorly coached football team. A poorly coached football team that every day, that after every game, it's, hey, man, we got to get better, man. Hey, 100% on me, man. Hey, look, you know what? The Patriots didn't really do anything that we didn't expect. It was just really, us not being able to get golf in a rhythm. Really, buddy. They didn't do anything. You expected that and still had nothing for it. Tell me you don't know how to coach without telling me. Awful. Pathetic. I got nothing to say on this guy.
That was terrible. It was terrible. And the decision to go for it 4th and 9, you're down 6-0. Like, that's a manageable game, and that's what we're holding Dan Campbell accountable for. Like, you're a head coach. Field position, decision-making, like, that's the stuff we constantly question Dan for. So I have no comment. And I read a tweet, shout out to Jim Costa. The last time the Lions were shut out, it was November 22nd, 2020. 6 days later, the head coach is fired. So obviously different situation. That's the difference between Dan and Matt Patricia. Matt Patricia had a better roster, and they underperformed. The only thing that Dan Campbell has right now is they don't have talent defensively. But that was an all-around bad game. Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, Dan Campbell, there's plenty of blame to go around. If you want to throw Jared in there, that's fine. But that was god-awful, Adam. I mean, to say, this is what frustrates me. Every Sunday, watching a Dan Campbell press conference, the first thing that comes out of his mouth, that's on me. I didn't have this team prepared. When are you going to have this team prepared?
Of that message are we? That's 4 games now this year. Hell, even 5 if you want to include the win. Or, hey, got to clean things up, man. Got to clean things up. Look, I'm not going to lie to you. Brad Holmes doesn't get to escape anything either. Now, do I believe that he has done a good job? I do. Am I really concerned that his rookies, 2 of them, Jamison Williams and Josh Pascal, have yet to suit up? Nah, not really. Do I believe that coaching is really the crutch of this team? I do. But Brad Holmes did have an opportunity to go out in free agency. I'm not saying spend the farm, but do a little more for this team.
Right.
But, hey, he said, you know what? We believe in the talent, the young talent that we have. People like a Jerry Jacobs, who now Dan Campbell is sitting up there at the podium and saying, look, when we get Jerry back, man, his communication, man, it's going to help this defense a lot. And I just keep hearing what's going to happen. And I have a plan, and I have this, and I have that. And the reality was, you know what, guys? That was expected. That is the difference in coaching. That's not a talent issue. That's just not a talent issue. Jacksonville, a 3-win football team last year. They spent all their free agency money on Christian Kirk. Yeah, I don't think anybody's losing sleep over that. The Giants, the Seahawks, the Saints, whoever you want to point out, the Texans. Texans have as many wins as you do. TJ Hawkinson, really back to prime form. I got to say, round of applause for TJ Hawkinson. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 performance for him. 4 targets, 1 reception. Hell of a job. I mean, that is the Eric Ebron-esque TJ Hawkinson, I know. And what do you know? Coming off a career game where, quote again, his team needs him to step up and have a big game. Nothing. Nada. What you saw in New England, man, is this simple. They got outcoached. The Patriots weren't uber talented. They're not much more talented than your football team. You have the better offensive line. Mm-hmm. You have the more capable run game, even though theirs does go head-to-head with you. I will give them credit.
It sounds
New England
like last
can run
week.
the ball.
Doesn't it not?
It's the same story every week now. You have the better receiving core.
Yeah.
You have the better tight end. Let's see. We'll give them the pass rush for sure. I mean, your pass rush is non-existent at the moment.
Yeah.
Secondary play, you have to give to New England. Really, anything defensively, you got to give to New England. And somehow, some way, you allow a team that was averaging 14 points a game to put up 29 while you put up a donut. And you continue, Dan, to just say, I don't need the points. I get it. You clearly know more than everybody else. And only in Detroit, and this is actually one of my favorite things, only in Detroit can you cold call and get a job in the NFL. That's what Dan Campbell did. And honestly, guys, the truth is Dan Campbell is out of touch with reality and his scope as a leader, as the head coach of this football team. He has no business being a head football coach in the NFL of any legitimate franchise. Let me preface it by that. Because lucky for Dan, he was hired by arguably the worst franchise over the last 58 years in the Detroit Lions. And all the inexperience flaws that you could point out on Dan Campbell going into Sunday, Bill Belichick and his coaching staff exposed it. Yes, his coaching staff, that included Joe Judge and Matt Patricia. Everybody was talking about this game going into Sunday. The revenge tour, Matt Patricia getting one back on him, not avoiding the 1-4 trap. And here we are, Monday morning, 8:10, live from Feldman. The lines are 1-5. Nothing's changed. It's not that it's the same old Lions. It is another pathetic coaching hire. And remember, we talked about Jim Caldwell. We went from Jim Caldwell to Matt Patricia. Well, right now it's looking like you went from Matt Patricia to Dan Campbell. That's not any better.
Yeah, he's a better human being. But
Oh, wow. Yeah, I care about that. Win.
And this is the thing that frustrates you too, Adam, is back-to-back weeks you face the Seahawks, you face the Patriots, two teams that are very conservative, two teams that don't go for it on fourth down much. They choose to kick the field goal. They win. Like, that's the problem. The Lions, I think, this is the only time it's happened in NFL history that you go for it that many times on fourth down, you don't get a single one. So, for me, it is frustrating. I mean, you talk about improvement. Last year, you were 0-8 through your first 8 games. You have a chance to be 1-7. 1-7. Like in a league where they encourage teams to turn around very quickly. So I don't want to hear the talent.
Name off a few
mold.
coaches that I just don't like.
That you just don't
around
like.
around the league.
Well, I mean, you're notorious. Matt Rule.
Okay, who else?
Cliff Kingsbury.
Okay, who else?
Maybe Pete Carroll. Not a big Pete
Getting
Carroll
close,
fan.
NFC team. You know, I didn't like them going into the year. I have to eat my words on them.
What division?
Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, Mike McCarthy.
Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
For all the crap I give him, he's won 4 straight games with a backup quarterback.
Yes.
Oh, well, Adam, they have Micah Parsons. They have Trayvon
Yeah,
Diggs.
they have a defense.
All right, fine. Yeah.
They do
You're
have a
right. You're right.
defense.
100% right. Again, I won't concede that they do have X-factor players that are delivering for them. Finding ways to win with a backup. You have your starting quarterback, can't get him in any rhythm. 5 minutes left in the second quarter. You've only thrown the ball 8 times. Very reminiscent of what happened in the Philly game. You're not learning from your mistakes. You're just not. You put Amon-Ra St. Brown out there. He wasn't ready. He was probably 50%. He couldn't cut for the life of him.
No.
So that seemed like a waste. Josh Reynolds went out there, hobbled, injured, and you still kept him out there towards the end when you were down 23, calling your timeouts like you had some opportunity to come back in the game. The guy is out of touch with reality. He has no idea how to coach. And the truth is, I can't wait. I truly can't wait to get to the people on this tomorrow.
I can't wait either.
But the reality is I do want to hear what you have to say, because I'm not going to sit here on a Monday and say, Dan Campbell out. All what I am going to say is I told you so. And I told you so because of the inexperience. I told you so because of who are the Lions to be trendsetters and go out and hire a tight ends coach as the head coach of their football team, not an offensive coordinator like the rest of the league.
And a
is
guy
doing.
who didn't get an interview, a single interview during that offseason.
No, he wasn't on anybody's radar.
No,
but
he wasn't.
hey, look, Sheila, I got the plan of the century. Let me tell you, Sheila, give me 10 minutes on the phone. Sold her on everything except, I don't know, actually coaching and winning football games.
The culture.
And the reality is, through 22 games, and Stick, if you don't mind, throw this up on the screen. Through 22 games, Dan Campbell is 7-14-1. Now, if I were to tell you there is a coach in the NFL right now who's only coached 5 games, who has as many wins as Dan Campbell, who would you say that is?
I'd have to guess Brian Dable.
You can throw out Brian Dable on the screen. That's the reality. 4 wins, 1 loss, 0 ties. Both have yet to make the playoffs. And Dan Campbell through 22 games has called 59 fourth down attempts. 59. Only 4 for Dable, and he seems to be winning without going for it on fourth down all the time. That's interesting. How about we throw up Nick Sirianni, maybe a playoff coach? Let's go to Nick Sirianni. 14-8, 1 playoff win, 36 fourth down call attempts in the same amount of games. 23 less than the Detroit Lions. Let's go to David Culley. He was fired. He was a joke of a head coach out in Houston. 4-13, the same amount of wins in 5 less games than Dan Campbell, and he called it 38 less times on fourth down. Oh, what a surprise. And then there's Arthur Smith, who was robbed out of a potential game-winning drive with the awful roughing the passer penalty on Tom Brady, which was a joke. Having said that, he's got more than double your wins with just as less of a talented team as yours. 9-13 through 22 games. And here we are.
And Adam, can I ask you?
Good morning, everybody.
Can I ask you something about those graphics? Name those quarterbacks. Daniel Jones.
Marcus Mariota. Let me think here. Davis Mills.
Oh gosh.
Jalen Hurts, not going to say anything.
No, he's
damn good quarterback.
he's damn good
They're 5-0
quarterback.
now. Having said
But
that,
that's the point. Daniel Jones didn't throw a passing touchdown. So I mean, it's.
Wait, didn't the Giants just beat the Packers with Daniel Jones? Oh.
Yeah, they did.
Excuse me.
They did.
Let's take a quick break. When we get back, the high-powered offense. We talked about this on Friday. It wasn't sustainable. They were going to run into a brick wall eventually. They can't put up 35 points a game. You need to come up with a better game plan, a game plan to keep the opposing team off the field, a game plan to keep the opposing team from scoring touchdowns, which you kind of did. and you need to really control the clock and score. And they didn't. Nothing.
No.
They did nothing. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Cintron.
Well, guys, Cintron is the official energy drink of the Red Wings. Cintron has combined 3 of their delicious flavors into a limited edition 6-pack sampler box. If you're watching on woodwardsports.com, you could see it. They have the cranberry, the original, the sugar-free. You could pre-order your Cintron 6-pack sampler box today at cintronworld.com/Red Wings. Don't forget, get energized with Cintron.
New to the game or a season better? OddsTrader.com has everything you need to make the right bet ahead of kickoff. Begin your handicapping journey with OddsTrader. Improve your edge by finding the best price on every game from sportsbooks in your backyard. Take advantage of the numerous sign-up bonus offers to pad your bankroll. Dive into key game statistics, player performance, and even account for the projected game day weather. Best of all, you can use the OddsTrader bet tracker to keep a log of your action. Welcome to OddsTrader, and best of luck.
Hi, I'm John from Better Rate Mortgage, and to me, family is more than blood. That's why I have the biggest family in Metro Detroit. If you're looking to buy a house or refinance and need a loan, come get treated better than family by me and our entire team here at Better Rate Mortgage. We pride ourselves on giving you better advice, better service, and a better loan experience. That's why we are Better Rate. If you're looking for a new mortgage, come get treated like family. Actually, better with Better Rate Mortgage. Visit us at mybetterrate.com or call at 248-480-4467 today.
Get a shot up. This is for the win. All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
Good morning, everybody. What's up, Jeff?
I love you. Just keeping the morale high here.
Oh, yeah,
That's
you know
all.
what? There's a lot to celebrate over the weekend. You know what? Michigan improved to 6-0. Congratulations to Michigan. Somehow they fell behind Clemson. We beat Boston College. Okay, whatever AP poll, that's fine. I'll leave it there.
What were your thoughts early in the State Ohio State game? I mean, got the pick six.
You know what? Look, man, I dug my grave on that. I went into the game saying 72-10.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get mad. Anything over 72-10, I'll lose my mind on. They didn't lose by 70. They didn't lose by 62. They didn't give up 70 points. Hey, you know what? Job well done, Michigan State.
Take what you can
Way
get.
to get your ass kicked in a classy manner. Well done. And then, of course, you saw the Detroit Lions get shut out.
Yeah.
By the New England Patriots. Jeff, look, we talked about this offense, Ben Johnson, the job he's been doing. If there was ever a litmus test to your ability to game plan, make in-game decisions, halftime adjustments, whatever it may be, it was against Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. And you know what they did? Nothing. Nothing. And I'm sorry. Everybody, I'm sorry. Last I checked, we don't get to, blame the coordinators for a team losing. That doesn't exist. It only exists in Lions la-la land, right? Because we need to find some sort of excuse for our head coach to stick around, man. But, you know, around the league, everybody seems to be just fine with their coordinators, and they typically don't get thrown under the bus. And when your offensive coordinator gives you 35 a game through 4, you'd expect to have a winning record. But, hey, you know what? It's on the defensive side. And, oh, wait, now we got shut out. We got to look at the offensive side. That's Dan Campbell right now. Knee jerk. Oh, my goodness. Putting out fires everywhere instead of just sitting down and saying, the hell's going on? Oh, you know what? I have the bye week. Now I can go in and I can really observe what's wrong. And we're going to fix it, man. Look, we just need to win one. Because when you win one, you can win another. And then when that second win comes, I've been in this league a long time, man. Then the third one comes, man. I didn't know that's how it worked. Last I checked, Bill Belichick gave you a Uber. Hell, he gave you such a compliment, I wasn't even expecting it going into the week. He complimented your special teams, notably Jack Fox. And you know what you did?
He said he's a weapon.
Drive of the game,
he said he's a weapon.
At your own 43, you decide to go for it and give a struggling Patriots offense with a rookie quarterback starting for the first time. Oh, you know what? Instead of pinning them back, nah, we're going to go for it because we're Dan Campbell and we're the Detroit Lions. Well done, Dan. You give Bailey Zappi and company a short field. Yes, granted, you don't give up 7, but it is Bailey Zappi. And you know what? At the end of the day, you gave them confidence. And you gave them 3. And you know what Bill Belichick did that I thought was funny? He kept taking the 3.
Just like Pete Carroll.
Interesting. Didn't Pete Carroll do that last week?
Yeah.
Oh, just taking the points? Wait, you're supposed to score in the NFL? I didn't know you win games by scoring. I thought you win games by going for it 6 times and not
I
converting
believe you win if you score more points.
Excuse me.
I believe that's how that
Whoops.
works.
Brain fart on my end. Whoops. I didn't know you had to score points to win football games. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. Let me throw out my notes.
Yeah, just get rid of it.
Offense was anemic.
Yeah, it was.
Clearly, they missed DeAndre Swift. Clearly, they miss a healthy Amon-Ra St. Brown. Nobody cannot admit that. That is the reality. That is the truth. Having said that, your job is to figure it out. And through 22 games, I have a head coach who seems like he has no idea how to figure it out. A head coach that really just should be given TED Talks at the moment. Dan Campbell is more qualified to give TED Talks than he is to coach a professional football team. To leave points on the board, to not play the game of field position in a game we all knew would be under. The under was the lock of the week. And you decided to play a game that you have no business doing against Bill Belichick. They knew what you'd run. This would be one of the more prepared teams you would ever go up against. Yes, because they have one of the greatest coaches to ever live. And you thought you could play trickery or catch them off guard or first drive, we're going for it. Look, you guys have the ability to chat over at woodwardsports.com in the Woodward Sports chat. I'll let you guys vent your opinions, your frustrations. But the truth is, guys, I think you know what it is. And I told you till November. Did I think they'd be 1-4 through 5? I didn't. I still think this team is more than capable of giving you what the Falcons give you, what the Seahawks give you. There's no excuse. The Giants notably. You look around the league, the Texans now winning. The Colts finding ways to win on the road. No business beating Denver. They found a way. Now they're 2-2. 2-1, I should say.
They were kicking field goals, yeah.
They took the points when they were there.
Yeah.
They didn't get cute with it. And what happened? Oh. Brandon Staley. Don't think I forgot about you, buddy. As much as I like you, you almost cost your team a football game yesterday.
Keenan Allen tweeted, what the hell's going on?
Lucky he missed the field goal.
Yeah.
You get away with it for the week. You're 3-2 now. Congratulations. There is a trend that I don't like in the NFL, which is we are smarter than everybody. What did this town absolutely kill Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn for? The quote, we're the smartest people in the room. And since Dan Campbell has been a head coach in the NFL, he's done 2 things no other coach has done more than him. No other team has done more than his football team. Do you know what that is? Lose and go for it on 4th down. Congratulations, Dan.
Those things are intertwined.
Congratulations.
And that's the problem, too, with me. Like, there's plenty of blame to go around. I get, for Ben Johnson's sake, obviously it was a terrible game. And if you look at it from some of the pass sets, too, you had T.J. Hawkinson one-on-one with Matthew Judon. Like, that's terrible. That is inexcusable. So if we're going to give Aaron Glenn flack for not putting guys in the right position, we got to hold Ben Johnson accountable as well.
I'm not holding coordinators accountable for a head coach who's
no,
responsible
absolutely.
for those
it all goes back to Dan Campbell. But in certain situations, like you got to hold some.
And I can criticize him. I can give Aaron Glenn credit, and I can criticize him. At the end of the day, who lifts the Lombardi Trophy?
What's that coach?
Who gets credited for the wins and the losses? The head coach. Who gets the money? The head coach. The head coach is responsible. I don't want to hear about Ben Johnson.
No, yeah.
I don't want to hear about Aaron Glenn going into the bye week. I don't want to hear about any of it. And I'm sorry, I still like your draft picks. I like the moves Brad Holmes has made. I still think you have a talented roster. I think your football team is poorly coached. That's it. I do believe there are 3, 4, 5 coaches right now that are rookie coaches that could come in and do a better job. Kevin O'Connell, Brian Dable, you name them, Mike McDaniel, all could do a better job than Dan Campbell is 22 games into his Detroit Lions tenure.
Got a big sample size.
So you guys, again, you like Penei Sewell, you like your offensive line, you like St. Brown, you like Swift, Jamal Williams, you like the backfield, you like your wide receivers to complement Jared Goff. You like a lot about what's going on here. What you don't like, and what you won't admit, actually, it's not that you don't like it. What you won't admit is that you have a poorly coached football team. And I know that's really hard to come to grips with 5 games into the season. You're hopeful, you're optimistic. I was with you guys. I said 7-10. I think 7-10, they're going to be a pain in the ass football team to play against. And what do you get? Nothing. You get nothing. There's no coaching. You guys watch the games, and you tell me there are significant coaching changes. Up 22 at halftime against Washington, they regress on defense in the second half. One team makes adjustments, the other doesn't. Against Philly, They come out. They got to play defense. Make a stop. Don't let it become a three-score game. What happens? Philly drives, touchdown, timeout, questionable. Onside kick, questionable. You go to Minnesota, refusing to take the points on the road, cost you. Going forward on kicking a field goal with a kicker at a 40% mark going into that game.
Right.
When you could have played the clock like every other coach would have. I mean, again, you're poorly coached. The clock management's awful. The 2-minute game it's non-existent. You can blame Goff. You can blame the players. The players need to do better. Aidan Hutchinson, we'll get to him in the second hour.
Yeah, we will.
He's not playing good enough. You can point to all of this. And I will tell you they are poorly coached. It's that simple. And if you don't want to admit that this morning, I understand. I understand your pause to go out 5 games into the second year and say, done, over with, can't coach. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to walk you through it. You are poorly coached, and I promise you, Detroit Lions fans, I promise you, with this very team, there are 3 coaches right now I could pluck from the rookie class this year that would be able to walk in and have this team at 3-2. I guarantee it. You don't want to admit it's poorly coached? We'll talk later in the season. The reality is, this is a poorly coached football team, Jeff, and I see no reason why Lions fans should be optimistic until that decision has been made.
Oh, it's hard. I mean, even in a rebuild, I mean, people understand that, yeah, it is a rebuild, but there's no excuse on why watching these last 5 games, you shouldn't be 1-4. You should be 2-3 at minimum. And again, that goes back to coaching. Dan's job is to put these guys in the best position and to make the right decisions. And all we've seen through 5 games is consistent, questionable decisions. And that's my issue. And then going up to the podium after the game and saying, well, that's not me. It was my fault. Didn't have these guys ready. Then what is your job, Dan? You have Ben Johnson, who your number 1 offense, not anymore, by the way. Aaron Glenn on defense. They only let up 22 points. If you want to look at it like that, Jared Goff's fumble didn't help. And you still get shut out on the road against it. You got out-coached the last 2 weeks. There's not really anything left for Dan Campbell at this point. I mean, it's tough to defend him. I'm not going to say fire him already, but it's hard. It really is. I mean, this guy's smoking hookah at this point.
Fixing my hookah, man.
Got to get your morale up. And by the way, I want to address Brad Holmes before we go to break. I mean, this whole thing with Brad Holmes, too. I just watched Deion Jones get traded for a late-round pick yesterday. If that tells me anything, it means the Lions really aren't investing in players. I think Brad, from his perspective, understands this is a process. And even with Dan, should you be 1-4? No.
Let me help you guys out. This is to Brad and Dan Campbell. You don't have 6 years. That's not how the NFL works. It's the most parity league we have in all of professional sports. It's the greatest sport for a reason.
You can turn things around.
Every 2 to 3 years, you should be able to turn it around. You don't have 6 years. You don't have 6 years. You don't have 5 draft classes. You just don't. Now, what Brad Holmes has under his sleeve that nobody wants to acknowledge is he didn't hire the head coach and he didn't draft the quarterback. So he has 2 marquee decisions that every GM typically makes when they take over a football team that he's yet to make. So Brad Holmes, I don't want to hear about him. You can't tell me this team is not talented enough to go out and win these football games. They are. They're more than talented enough. Atlanta, the Giants, the Seahawks. The Colts are a different story. I mean, they just suck at quarterback right now. But where I'm getting at, Jeff, the Bears have more wins than you. And they can't throw the football. Let's take a quick break. When we get back, the 4th down play calling continues. We got to go to the people on this as well. We'll put up a poll in the chat when we get back. 8:45, Ohio State, Michigan State, and Michigan. We got to recap all the games. Top of the hour, Dan Campbell says the Lions have hit rock bottom. 9:15, we'll address Aidan Hutchinson, his performances as of late. We'll go to the AP poll at 9:30, and, of course, the number 1 concern that we have heading into the bye week for the Detroit Lions.
It's a lot of them.
That and so much more coming up. But before we do, the best defense on and off the field, Jeff.
Summertime is here, guys. Or it's past now, but fall is here, I should say. Winter's coming, and you can still spend time outside. And while you're doing that, let Guardian Alarm give you peace of mind. You can call 1-800-STAY-OUT, and you could rest easy knowing you have 24/7 protection. That's 1-800-STAY-OUT. Let them know your friends at Woodward Sports sent you.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Hello? Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Krogers, and if you wanna know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
Time to talk about Swiss. Not Ham and Swiss. Swiss Insurance Group. Did you know that 1 in 6 kids will develop a medical condition that makes them uninsurable? Swiss Insurance can save you money on your auto and home, resulting in no out-of-pocket cost to insure your children. Check with Mark at Swiss Insurance and make sure your family is protected.
All right, we are back here on the Morning Woodward Show, live 8:31 from Feldman Chevrolet out in Novi. Weather's nice. Fall season's upon us. At least you have that going for you. Well called, Stick. Well called.
You know what other season's approaching?
Don't say it. I'm not in the mood. We're not doing that right now. No.
Well, it's not the Pistons.
Go for it.
Mock draft season.
Yeah, we're not doing that. We're not. Look, guys, again, I want to revisit because maybe I need to speak a little slower for your brains to kind of receive what I'm telling you. Let's start with number one. Number one, you have a team that is more than capable of winning 7 or 8 games. Let's get that out of the way. Fish, go to hell. Number 2, coaching is the reason why you have 2 more losses than you should have at the moment.
Absolutely. No question.
Number 3, Brad Holmes has built a very young team so far for you. Yes, that comes with its pain points. That's what coaching's for. That's what coaching's for. I'm sorry. You like it. You don't like it. You don't want to hold the coach accountable and not the GM. Oh, well, if the team is 1-4, that's the GM's fault too. Time out. What is the coach's job? Take the players you have them play above their pay grade, coach them up, put a game plan in place for Sunday for you to win. Your coach isn't doing that right now. And look, you want to bring up Brad Holmes this morning. I'm not sure what I have for you. I really don't. That is not the angle I think you should be taking on a Monday where you're 1-4 heading into the bye week. Your coaching has cost you 2 games. You've now got out-coached for the 4th time in 5 games. I showed you the graphics on the screen. Dable's coached 5 games. He has as many wins as your head coach does through 22. O'Connell has coached 5 games. And I was told Minnesota are fake. They're not legit. Kirk Cousins. What's Kevin O'Connell going to do? They've won the same amount of games as you have in the last 22 games. You look at all the rookie coaches this year. Again, you look at, what's his name? Nathaniel Hackett, who we all think is really bad. More wins than you do. You look at, Doug Peterson. More wins than you do. You look at Mike McDaniel, more wins than you do. You look at all the rookie coaches, there's only one that has the same amount or less, and that's Lovie Smith. And we all know Lovie Smith is getting fired at the end of the year anyways. But we hold on to this hope in Detroit that makes no sense to me with this football team. You hold on. I can't sit. I'm dying right now. This is pissing me off. You hold on to this hope that, you know what, the more games we give this jackass, maybe, just maybe, we'll start winning football games. Maybe, just maybe. Right?
Maybe.
You did this with Patricia. You gave him an extra year. We should have fired Patricia. Hindsight, right? Oh, yeah, after the 2nd year. It's too early. Based on your guys' math, based on your excuses, you're going to let this go through. He's going to be here next year. You're going to win 3 games next year, and then you're going to have the conversation of, man, we wasted another year. That's how you go 58 years without, winning only 1 playoff game, winning a handful of divisions. That's how you go 58 years. That's how you go since, I don't know, 91 since your last playoff win. That's how you go from, 93 since your last division title.
Mm-hmm.
And it was called the Central back in the day. It's not even the North. You've never won an NFC North title. That is how. You just won't look in the mirror and say, you know what? We're being outcoached on Sundays. And here we go. I can already see it. 2 weeks to prepare for the Dallas Cowboys. 2 full weeks. They're going to come out. They're going to play with their heads on fire. They'll get an early lead, and they'll somehow find a way to lose. And you know what? You know what we're going to hear on that Monday? Well, they played their ass off. I mean, they look good against the Dallas Cowboy team that, Adam, they're going to make the playoffs. Dallas might win the division. They got Dak Prescott back, Adam. They have Micah Parsons. They have Trayvon Diggs. When do you, as a Detroit sports fan, and you aren't stupid, guys, by the way. You are not a stupid fan base. You are a fan base that have witnessed the Pistons put together championship runs. You've witnessed the Tigers put together some championship runs, ALCS, multiple World Series in the last 20, 30 years. You've witnessed all this. You know what it takes. You've seen the Red Wings dominate for such a long period. Yet for some reason with your football team, you can't do the same. Makes no sense to me. You want to blame Jared Goff. You want to blame Brad Holmes. You want to blame Gandhi. You want to blame me. You want to blame God. I don't care. Blame whoever you want. The truth is you're being outcoached. And that's on the head coach. Not your OC, not your defensive coordinator, your head football coach who, again, I think he would crush it. I really do. I think if he leaves, he would crush it as a TED Talk speaker. He really would. He would be phenomenal. He would be exceptional. I would pay for front row tickets. I wouldn't pay for front row tickets to watch him coach on Sunday. I just wouldn't. And you know what? I see a lot of Brady Hoke. A lot of this. A lot of, hey, man, we're getting here. Let's go. We're almost there. Let's go, boys. And you know who's honestly doing this? Mel Tucker. Got to have that conversation eventually. A lot of clapping. A lot of clapping. I'm not seeing the X's and O's. And yes, I would prefer Kyle Shanahan. And to all you dimwits out there, oh, well Adam, you can't hire Sean McVay every year. Fellas, I believe, hold me to it, but I believe there is a 95% hit rate on rookie coaches making the playoffs their first season in a total class. 95% of the time, one of them makes the playoffs. Last year, let's go to the year prior. You had Kevin Stefanski. You had Nick Sirianni, right? Mm-hmm. Or excuse me, Nick Sirianni was last year.
No, previous year,
Kevin
before
Stefanski. The year prior.
No, it was after Sirianni.
Yeah, it was after Sirianni.
Yeah, because Zimmer was still a head coach when Sirianni was there.
So the reality is, man, you are getting outcoached, man.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to look in the mirror and say, you know what, we do have parts of this football team that you like. The offensive line's really good. It can help you control games. You can throw Jamal Williams back there. He'll do just fine. Reality is, again, you are being outcoached on Sundays. Fish, what the hell are you wearing?
Okay, you know who made me do this? The Michigan State Spartans. I could have came in today with an S on my chest, but no, they didn't. I mean, it's pretty simple.
Fish was at the game.
Michigan State played a
Fish,
bad
shut
football
the hell up.
game.
Mute your mic.
Why?
What are you wearing?
It says Ohio State Buckeyes on it.
We see it.
I mean,
we see it, Fish.
It's simple. If you guys would have won. By the way, it's your team. It's your team.
All right, there's too many.
If your team would have won, which they could have won that game.
No, they could not have won that game. Ohio State is the best team in the country, Fish. Shut the hell up.
There was zero chance.
They had chances to win that game.
Can I ask you something, Adam?
DOC, Matt.
Why do...
They had a chance in the
I just
end
realized
of the
what the
first
hell was
quarter.
going on. Oh, my God.
They had a chance at like the first quarter
They
when
didn't
they
have a chance.
chose
They
to
never
punt.
had a chance. Fish, God could have game down, changed the scoreboard, spotted Michigan State 42 points going into that game. They still would have lost it. Michigan State could have started that game up 42-0. They still would have lost to Ohio State. Do you understand that?
No, I don't. Cause that's
Clearly
not...
you don't. So shut up, mute your mic, and take off the shirt, please. Just be shirtless. It's fine.
Take it off!
My goodness.
I mean, I do have a shirt on. It's Thanksgiving in Canada, so
All right.
happy Thanksgiving.
I don't know where that
everybody.
came from, Fish.
Thanksgiving in Canada?
Yeah, we got football in about a little over 4 hours.
What does that mean?
Did you-
Thanksgiving in Canada?
And you said we got football. Like you.
Well, yeah. Well, we have football. I mean, you guys.
The collective.
Yeah, we
The collective.
have football.
Oh,
It's
my
great.
Lord. All right.
You don't want the Alouettes and the Red Blacks?
No, we're done here. We're done here. We got to get back to the lines.
They play very good football over there.
Fish, mute your mic.
We might have some coaches that might be coaching over there soon, Fish. My question is as a Lions fan, why do I got to be patient? Why do I got to be patient? I look around the NFL and I see teams turning it around, but Lions fans always tell me, you got to be patient. Why? Why do we have to be patient? Why do we allow Dan to be able to learn on the job? That's the problem I have is even though I accept that the team isn't very good, especially defensively, to have the number one offense up until this week and you're 1-4, your defense, they haven't been able to put a game together on both sides. It's either your offense plays really well or your defense plays really well. There's no in between. And for me, watching that game, it's sad because for Dan, you love him so much. He's a great human being. He motivates guys. But when you watch him in a game make these decisions, like 4th and 9, not settling for a 49-yard field goal, not taking points, but you watch Pete Carroll and Bill Belichick do that, and they beat you both weeks. That's the issue I have, is I have no faith in our head coach, despite even when we have talent. Because, guys, the biggest thing for me is they don't have talent. Okay. What happens when they do have talent? Are you going to trust Dan Campbell to make these decisions when you have talent? That's my question to you guys. You're seeing what's already happening right now with little to no talent. Wait till you add more talent. You're still going to let Dan make these decisions for you? You saw the stat. Nick Sirianni with a better team. All the 4th down decisions he's went for. You don't think Dan Campbell's going to go for it on 4th down when the team becomes even more talented and he's going to cost you games? That's the reality of it. And I really don't know what to say at this point. Be patient. That's what they tell me. Be patient with your head coach. It's frustrating. It really is.
Look, Jeff, I think most people in the chat over at woodwardsports.com would agree with you.
By the way, can I say something else too?
Go for
You
it.
signed Michael Badgley, okay? Michael Badgley.
Who's that?
I guess you haven't seen him yet.
No, who is that? Seriously. I'm not joking now. Who is that?
He's the newly signed kicker for the Detroit Lions.
What's a kicker?
I'm actually going to explain. Let me break it down for you because I've been watching a lot of kicker film, okay?
Appreciate that.
So, Michael Badgley, you pick him up. You're so confident in Michael Badgley, you cut Austin Seibert, right? So, you must believe in what the guy can do. You're out on the field, 49-yard field goal. You know what Dan thinks? Don't trust him. Don't trust him. Even though Michael Badgley has a higher percentage in field goals than Austin Seibert, he's a better career kicker. Look at the stats. And you still don't trust him. But then I watch the New England Patriots trust Nick Folk. You go up 6, and you don't take the 3 points. I don't understand it. Why'd you sign Michael Badgley?
I'm not even mad.
Jack Fox.
I
These
swear to
guys
you.
have little to no impact on a week-to-week basis.
I'm good. I slept like a baby last night.
Oh, I bet you did.
I woke up. I made my eggs. Put it on toast. I had a good morning. Drank my tea. No, I was chilling. I was finalizing my notes for the show. I wasn't even mad. I'm not even surprised. I really am not. Dan Campbell would not have gotten an interview anywhere else. Oh, wait, he didn't get an interview anywhere else except for the Detroit Lions. Why? Who are those people that show up on Sundays randomly to your house that you don't want showing up? What do we call them? Jehovah's Witnesses?
Yeah, Jehovah's Witnesses.
That's what Dan
yeah.
Campbell is. He's a Jehovah's Witness. Cold calls Sheila Ford gets a job. Hell of unbelievable. He's the one successful Jehovah's Witness out in the country. 10 out of 10. That's your head football coach. Congratulations, Detroit. Well done. When we get back, Ohio State embarrassed Michigan State. No surprise. Fish, we need to talk.
A lot of positivity on the prep today.
Michigan handled business against Indiana. That and so much more.
At least
Dan
we got
Campbell,
that.
At top of the hour, Dan Campbell says the Lions have hit rock bottom. Have they actually? That and so much more. But before we do, Jeff,
Rock bottom.
our good friends over at Big Boy.
Well, guys, when you hear that statement, we've hit rock bottom, you know where you go to take out all those emotions? You head over to Big Boy. And for a limited time only, the all-new burgers and loaded fries are at Big Boy. And it's not just the Slim Jim. They have the Big Jim, the chili cheeseburger, as well as the bacon blue. But how about upgrading those fries, by the way? They have the chili cheese fries, the baked potato fries, the nacho fries. You can get all these things and satisfy your taste buds at Big Boy.
Fellas, let's be honest. We like things to be easy. We like simple stuff, like sports 7 days a week. We like things uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Sign in, sit down, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
New to the game or a season better? OddsTrader.com has everything you need to make the right bet ahead of kickoff. Begin your handicapping journey with OddsTrader. Improve your edge by finding the best price on every game from sportsbooks in your backyard. Take advantage of the numerous sign-up bonus offers to pad your bankroll. Dive into key game statistics, player performance, and even account for the projected game day weather. Best of all, you can use the OddsTrader bet tracker to keep a log of your action. Welcome to OddsTrader, and best of luck.
Winning is a habit. So is listening daily to Woodward Sports. We're glad you're a winner, and thanks for listening.
Chili Pepper Standing is where you'll find all the cleanest salons in the D with spotless, sanitized rooms and trained and certified tanning professionals. You can join the Pepper Club for all the best deals. They'll beat all competitors by $5. Don't forget to pick up the Australian Gold, the Designer Skin, Cal Tan, and Swedish Beauty Lotions. ChiliPepperStanding.com. They have the hottest bulbs, the hottest deals, the darkest tans, your vitamin D headquarters, 27 locations, and more on the way.
Chili Pepper Stand.
We're back here on the Morning Woodward Show, and guys, we go from the Lions to Michigan State. How enlightening. You get to see Ohio State versus Michigan State this weekend. Listen, CJ Stroud, we kind of happened how we expected. We had the college pregame show on Saturday. Adham said they lose by 50, and they only lost by 29. Fish, you were at the game. Am I correct? Because I saw the picture you posted on Twitter. You were in the stands. I know you talked about it. And now you have an Ohio State sweatshirt. So who'd you go there to root? I mean, really, what happened?
I was rooting honestly, I was kind of rooting for Michigan State at the start because I just wanted to see an underdog. I knew they weren't going to win, but
yeah, right.
I was just rooting for a good game. I told everyone it'd be a close game, and it was for a quarter and like 2 minutes of the second quarter.
And one thing I watching the game that I got to see is obviously Michigan State cannot run the football. That's point blank. But another thing is Noah Kim came in immediately, 6 for 10, 82 yards and a touchdown. And I'm not saying Peyton Thorne, his seat is hot yet. But Noah Kim, he's coming in garbage time at points of the season. He hasn't looked that bad. And I know the defense for Michigan State, if you want to say stepped up, they had the interception, still gave up 49. I mean, CJ Stroud, we talk about Heisman performances. You throw 6 touchdown passes, over 350 yards against Michigan State at Michigan State. I mean, it's a great performance. They fall to 2-4. I mean, I had them at 8-4 this year. I don't even know if they can get 8 wins. I really don't know at this point how bad their defense is. And on top of that, they can't run the football. Their offensive line is trash. And Peyton Thorne is struggling. I mean, he was 11 for 18, 113 yards. But even, I'm talking about before this. I mean, it's Ohio State, for Christ's sakes. You see Fish with the Ohio State sweatshirt. But Noah Kim, I want to go to the chat. Any State fans out there, do you throw Noah Kim in there? The season's over. I mean, what are you playing for at this point? And we saw Michigan make this decision last year.
They're playing for a bowl game. They're playing for a bowl game.
I mean, Fish.
They're playing for a bowl game.
Are they?
They should be.
Should be.
They were smart.
I love that. No, but on top of that, listen, I mean, you got to see Ohio State walk in and just completely smack Michigan State, but we're not surprised, by the way. Michigan State right now, and people want to give Mel Tucker flack, and I get it. You want to question him as a coach. My only thing and my only rebuttal to that would be I think it's a little too early. I think you have to allow Mel Tucker to be able to get his guys in there. I mean, you talk about what D'Antonio left with. It was open cupboards. I mean, he took everything. So for Mel Tucker to say last year, and I've said this, I've been on record saying this, you still owe Kenneth Walker a check, by the way, because of the success they had last year. So I'm willing to give Mel Tucker more time.
He had a touchdown yesterday.
Yeah, I'm not going to. He did, by the way, Fish. I'm not going to say fire Mel Tucker. You got to give this guy more time. So if people want to overreact to that, now we have the State fan back in the building. So for me, you give Mel Tucker more time. Allow him to get his own recruits in there before you make a judgment call. Noah Kim doesn't look too bad. The run game is terrible. They have a good recruiting class coming up. You got to give them more time. I'm not going to – I know bottom line today we'll probably be discussing how bad they looked on a week-to-week basis, but – and Braylon's preached this before. You got to give him more time to get his players in there. I'm not going to – and look at – I love these comments in the chat, by the way. Going back to the Lions, I have to bring this up. Or Jack says they're not going to make a bowl game, Fish. See, Fish, what are you thinking?
Well, I mean,
what are you seeing on the football field?
I don't know. They got to get 4 more wins. I don't really know if they could get.
How can they get 4 wins? Who are they winning against?
Well, it doesn't look like they're going to win against anyone now.
I don't even know if they can get to 8 wins. I mean, it's over.
Oh,
No.
yeah.
It's over.
Yeah,
We're back. It's working, boys.
Was it not working before? Oh.
Do a little oil change on it real quick.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we're back. Sorry, boys. Sorry, everybody in the Woodward Sports chat. Had to take a quick pause. Had to get the smoke back up and running.
Is that because you were embarrassed of your
There's no better way
team?
to deal with the Lions sucking and kicking you in the balls than smoking and enjoying your Monday morning. Look, I'm not going to let it ruin my vibe. All right?
But who are you smoking? Who are you smoking for?
I'm going to enjoy my day.
Who are you smoke? Don't you smoke in celebration?
I'm celebrating that.
What team won?
My father decided to raise me in Michigan and ruin my life as a sports fan. That's his fault.
Okay. I guess we count that.
Shout out to my dad. So that's the reality. Look, let's go to the people a little bit. Ohio State were way better than Michigan State.
Yeah, we didn't learn anything new, I don't think, from that game.
Ohio State, to me, is, I think, the best team in the country. What they're able to do without even Jackson Smith and Jimba on offense is ridiculous. C.J. Stroud, it was effortless. Marvin Harrison Jr. punked every secondary player on Michigan State. Now, granted, Michigan State suck in the secondary, the worst secondary in all of college football. That's not saying much, but the reality is he punked them. He mossed them. Ohio State, phenomenal. Then you get to Michigan. Blake Corum, if you throw his side-by-side next to Mark Ingram and Derrick Henry, their Heisman years, and they're the last 2 running backs to win the Heisman, he's better than them in every category. I'm just saying. I'm not putting out the Blake Corum Heisman winner. He's going to win the Heisman, yada, yada, yada. I'm just saying, if you want to be fair, there's 6 games. More rushing yards, more rushing touchdowns than Derrick Henry and Mark Ingram, their Heisman seasons. Take that for what you will. Whew, this is hitting really good now. I am enjoying the hell out of this.
Is Clemson that good of a team?
Clemson are a talented football team that
are you willing to give them a little bit of credit?
I don't think have the playmakers to make a significant run in the college football playoff.
Yeah, they're not.
I mean, I'm with you there.
The ACC, look, I said it before the year. Clemson would be up there. They'd be 5 by the end of the year.
You picked Boston to get them, though.
I did. I mean, they were looking good through 2 quarters. Dude.
Yeah, they were.
They were.
Yeah, they were.
Why does Clemson get all the prime time? Similar to how Michigan gets all the noon. What, do we not watch football?
Well, this is how it works, buddy. You ready?
Yeah.
Fox
Yes.
Sports
Yes.
owns the rights to Fox
Big
News
Ten.
Kickoff. Correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Michigan had 5 of the 10 most viewed games in all of college football last year.
Yeah.
You put Michigan on TV, people watch.
Not against terrible teams like
Even against
Indiana
terrible teams. Even against terrible teams. The most watched game in college football will be next Saturday, Penn State, Michigan. Book it.
Well, it'll be Michigan, Ohio State, but
well, that's
up
not
to
till
the
then.
point. Yep.
To date.
Yeah.
7 games.
Yeah, no,
in the
you're
year.
right.
There's 7 games.
2 undefeated
the
teams.
The most watched game will be Penn State versus Michigan.
And that's fine.
I will put the mortgage on it.
That's
I
fine.
guarantee it.
Yeah, I'm okay with them. But Michigan against Indiana and Maryland, knew they could have found a better game.
Man. How was your weekend, Jeff? I didn't ask you.
Thanks for asking me.
It was rough. It was rough. I mean, I enjoyed watching. I mean, I was watching sports all weekend. I was chilling. I was kind of not feeling good the entire weekend. But when I got to Sunday, I tuned into the pregame show with Stick Maz and Rob Sims. Turned on the Lions game.
How do you not?
The day just kind of went gradually down from there, Fish.
By the way, Stick, Rob Sims, you Rob Sims and Maz, 10 out of 10. I enjoyed it.
Shout out to Maz.
I didn't hear that.
Shout out to Maz.
And then there was the post-game show where, you know what? Look, man, I got to give you a little round of applause, Stick. Can you give him the headset? I got to give you a little round of applause. I thought you carried yourself very well. As somebody that typically kind of, let's just be honest. You're a huge Detroit Lions fan. You wear it on your chest.
Yeah.
I thought between you and Anson, you put in one of your better performances Sunday postgame.
That wasn't a performance. That was just frustration. Mm-hmm. That was animosity. That was anger. That was disappointment. And it was really humiliation. I was humiliated yesterday. That was the most humiliating loss in Lions history. Not Sam Darnold beating us as a rookie. Not P.J. Walker coming in out of the USFL and kicking our ass or wherever the hell he was playing before
We were shut out in that game, too.
Not losing 16 games in a row. That was not as embarrassing as this. This was the most embarrassing loss in Lions history. Simply because, well, there's layers to this, right?
Yeah.
Number one offense, scores 0 points. Old coach who ripped your heart out, beats your ass. Like, there's no redeeming. We were supposed to respond. Nope. Still haven't won a game on the road. Yep. I mean, there's just
wait, that's a stat still. That's
yeah.
Right. He hasn't won a road game yet.
Haven't won a road game. And now we've learned, Ben Johnson, the genius. Didn't look like a genius to me.
No,
Jared Goff, number one air yards. Didn't look like that to me. And I've been a champion for Jared Goff. This was the most humiliating loss I've ever seen, and I've been a Lions fan my entire life.
Well,
I didn't know how else to respond. What up, Joey?
Joey.
I gotta be honest. I was celebrating the Lions game yesterday at Long's Orchard.
It looked like we're making out.
That's where I was at.
Everybody hit the cider mill early. I'm telling you, a lot of people did.
The reality is, Stick, and you tell me what you think. I just see a team that's getting outcoached.
Yeah.
I don't see a team that's lacking talent. I really don't. Are they the most talented team? Are they division contenders? Are they playoff contenders? Are they NFC contenders? No, they're not. They're not there yet. We all agree. I think we do at least. But they're getting outcoached, and that's why they're losing these games. Not because Jerry Jacobs isn't available or Amani Owarie was benched. I'm sorry.
If they lose this game 28-24, right? We're not having these types of conversations.
No.
It's the fact that they got shut the hell out.
It's the optics of it.
It's the fact that they let up, the Goff fumble was awful. Going forward on 4th and 9 when you could have kicked a 49-yard field goal.
Give them 6.
Yeah, so you just give them 6. Like, there's so many things that went into how bad this performance was that it's disheartening. And I think Dan Campbell's lost the team. And when you're a rah-rah guy, you can't lose the team. And I think he's lost them. How else do you explain that performance? How else?
I wouldn't. Again, I'm not going to blame 29-0 on the locker room not fighting for him, right? Because that's always the case with every coach, right? Oh, they play hard for him. I'm sorry, Stig. I just see a guy who, look, it was the worst matchup he could get. An actual coach who game plans and is qualified. Hear me out. What is one thing you haven't seen under Dan Campbell? In-game adjustments, halftime adjustments. I've never seen it in my life. 22 games now. Like, when does he coach? Instead of just clapping, look, you're going to lose to teams. There are teams that are better than you. I think we all agree. There's going to be situations where you play a team, they're just better than you. You got to tip your cap off. Minnesota beats you. Yeah, you controlled the game the whole game, but you know what? All right, you can live with it. It's Minnesota. They're now 4-1 top of the division. Green Bay beats you. Buffalo beats you. You're like, you know what? I can live with it. You can't live with not having a road win 22 games into your tenure as the Detroit Lions football coach. You just can't. And I'm sorry, man. I see a team that's getting outcoached. I don't see a team that's missing talent or a team that's unfair. The refs are holding them back. Stick, I'm not seeing any of it. There are no excuses on a Monday. It's just your coach is getting outcoached. And again, he said it in the press conference. He admitted it without even knowing he did. He literally stood up there and told you, yeah, you know what? The Patriots didn't run anything we didn't expect, thinking like he's some smart ass. They ran what you expected, and they still beat you.
Well, we talked about this on the postgame, and here's what scares the hell out of me out of all this. Where do you go after Dan Campbell if Dan Campbell fails? What's the next? What's the next step?
The same results.
I can get you the same results, but I don't want the same results.
Then go hire.
What Dan Campbell has said all the right things. He's done all the right things. He's ripped the heart out of the culture and tried to instill something new, and still here we are.
Where's
Nothing's changed.
Stick? Who's getting hired right now? OCs. That's what you do. Brian Dable, successful OC, hired.
Dable is amazing.
Kevin Stefanski, same thing with the Browns. He's doing a hell of a job with Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah.
You look at Kevin O'Connell. 4-1 with the Minnesota Vikings that I was told they're not legitimate contenders.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Eventually, you have to look yourself in the mirror and go out and do what the NFL is doing.
We all bought in on Dan Campbell, though. That's what we're like. Come on, we were all on the hype train during the. Yes, we were
during the off season. During
the off season, during the first year, during Hard Knocks, we were all like, "This is the guy."
Oh well,
this is the guy.
We all thought off season or the first year. Just
both.
The first year, I was not even remotely sold on him.
I was
going
barking
into this
at you,
off-season, though,
barking at you over it.
Yeah, you were upset with me, but this season, I said there's no excuse for this team.
No,
I think they're going to be a pain in the ass to play against. They have one of the better offensive lines in football. They're going to be able to run the ball, control the clock, yada, yada, yada. I've said this a million times. Can he coach? And I'm sorry.
This fourth down thing is out of control for me, and I've been preaching about it literally for a season and a half, and it got out of control yesterday. And it's just so stupid. Like, we talked about it during the postgame. We need to have an intervention. Like, he's almost like an addict. Like a gambling addict, or he just can't help himself. He's got to take that hit. He's got to do it. And even though it's staring right in front of him, he knows better. It's still like, I just got to go for it on fourth down. Like, I want to have an intervention. We all sit down with him. Dan, we care about you.
Mm-hmm.
We think
This is
there's
a head
potential.
coach of your football team. He's the one supposed to be calling the shots. This is stick again. Going into the year, anybody else, anybody could have sold me on 8-9 wins. I said 7, but you could have sold me on 8 and 9. You could have sold me on 9 and 8. Why? The schedule. Why? The quarterbacks you went up against.
Fifth easiest schedule in the league.
The team is better than it was last year, and you've somehow regressed. It's coaching. I don't want to hear.
It's not only coaching. It's they've given up on the coach, and then when that's your strength, when your strength is having the team galvanized, and you can't galvanize them anymore, it's curtains, man. I don't know how do you get them back? How do you get them back?
How about instead of rubbing their balls, how about you coach them? Right? How about you teach them to hold contain? How about you teach them to hit the gaps? How about you teach them to do anything outside of, hey, guys, I'm giving a TED Talk today. It's going to go really well. We're all going to be really motivated. And then when we go out there and we get punched in the face, you know what? We're just going to really be nice to each other. Everybody's going to be on the same page. We all like each other. And we're going to lose. We're going to take it on the chin. And we're going to go on to next week because, hey, man, there's always next week. Hey, man.
I just don't know. I don't know where you go with the guy. I love him. I love the Dan Campbell attitude. I love the grit. I love what he tried to instill. But
everything except coaching.
Wins matter. Yeah, that's it. At the end of the day, it's wins.
Except coach.
The only problem I have, too, is the talent. Because I get it. All the coaches we brought up, you could argue the Lions have the least amount of talent, on defense especially. But what I will not give up is watching the Minnesota Vikings game. Was the talent the reason why you were up with a minute left in the game?
I mean, that's my talent issue against Minnesota or Washington.
That's my issue, Adam.
I didn't hear a talent issue against Philly. Where was the talent cries? Oh, we're not. This is not a talented football team. Where was that week 1, 2, 3, and 4?
Well, I saw the offense be number 1 in the NFL. Like, if it's a talent issue, if it's on defense,
I see a coaching issue.
I get it.
You bring me any other coach in here. This is a 3-2 football team, potentially 4-1.
Yeah.
And we're having a different conversation, and no one's complaining about the GM, and nobody's complaining about the team. The reality is, you don't have a good football coach. He doesn't know what he's doing. He should be giving TED Talks, not coaching a football team. Sorry. When we get back, top of the hour, Dan Campbell said the Detroit Lions have hit rock bottom. That and so much more coming up. Hour 2, Aidan Hutchinson. Should Lions fans be concerned? That and so much more. But before we do, Jeff, our good friends over at OddsTrader.
OddsTrader.com is the #1 site for your game day bets, play-by-play updates, live scores, and the best price from every game on multiple sports books. Go to OddsTrader.com right now for your best bet.
Life is full of hard choices. We're here to make one of life's biggest decisions as simple as possible. My name is Christina Gennari, and for over 20 years, I've helped hundreds of families buy and sell homes. We cover all of Metro Detroit and more, from large luxury homes to starter homes. We will work hard to make sure that you get the home of your dreams. So if you're in the market today or even thinking about buying or selling in the future, make the obvious choice. Christina Gennari, the obvious choice in real estate. Visit us at soldchristina.com today.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
When you need apparel, there's only one place to go. Big Frog in Novi. With no setup fees, no artwork fees, no minimum, and a 24-hour turnaround, you can have your whole team outfitted in no time. Embroidery, direct-to-garment, vinyl, and screen printing, Big Frog has it all in all the styles you want. So whether it's a sports team, fundraiser, school event, or corporate needs, Big Frog is your one-stop destination. Visit bigfrog.com/Novi or call 844-4-BIG-FROG.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
It is. Is it time to get back to your fighting weight? Feel like a summer packed on a few too many? Custom Health Centers takes out the willpower out of weight loss. Whether you need to lose 20 or 120 pounds, Custom Health Centers will help you do it quickly and safely. Go to customhealthcenters.com or give them a call at 844-789-THIN. That's 844-789-THIN. Honestly, I'm smoking away my misery right now.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
I usually don't smoke on Mondays unless it's I have a reason to, or there's success, there's something to be happy about. I watched Michigan State get their ass kicked on Saturday. I watched the Lions do what the Lions have done all my life.
That's why I brought it up like 50 times.
My dad called me on Sunday and told me, son, this is your fault. You were born in 94. They've sucked since 94. It's your fault. And I'm like, you know what, Dad? It's your fault. I didn't tell you to come live in Michigan. But here we are. Here we are. And you know what? What my father did to me, I'm going to do to my kids. They're going to be raised as Lions fans. And they're going to have to deal with this.
How do you not?
I'm not dealing with it alone.
Good. I like that.
Jeff, Dan Campbell said the Lions have hit rock bottom.
That's not good.
Before we get into where they're at, how do you say that? Again, it's him kind of playing the reverse psychology role, which I really don't understand. Of, hey, you know what, man?
Pressure
We've hit rock bottom, and it's only up from here. FYI, Dan, it's not only up from here. The hardest part of your schedule is coming up. And if you go 1-4 over the next 5 games, you're going to be 2-8. There's more than just rock bottom for this football team. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't even see it. And he thinks, sitting up there saying, you know what, hey, we hit rock bottom. It's only up from here. No, dude, that's not how the NFL works, number one. 2, this is not rock bottom. It gets way worse. I have nothing to say about this guy.
No, me either.
I really don't.
To say you hit rock bottom in year 2 through 5 games is not a good thing. And again, thank God the bye week's already here. For injuries, this team needs to recuperate. There's no reason why. And it's funny because Dan in this presser, and obviously he should say this, there's no reason why he shouldn't. We just got to play well. We got to get a win. If we beat Dallas, they face Miami, Green Bay. Do you see them winning a single one of those games?
You know what I see?
I don't see that.
I see myself having to take a few Xanax and probably having to call off a show if this keeps going.
They're going to be 1-7. I'm saying it right now. They'll be 1-7 through 8 games. Like last year, through 8 games. You were 0-8.
And you know what? Again, you, the Lion fan, you have every right to be upset right now. Oh, the talent's not there. We should have done more in free agency. 1, 2, 3. I get it. But again, the Giants, what do the Giants have? Daniel Jones is their quarterback? What, they have Saquon Barkley? Congratulations. No wide receivers, no tight end, a makeshift offensive line. They're missing their best defensive player in Leonard Williams. Where's the excuses out in New York? Robert Saleh has the Jets 3-2. I mean, I'm really trying to bring this full circle here. It's only the talent. It's only the defensive coordinator. It's only the offensive coordinator when we talk about the Lions. You're holding on to this idea of what Dan Campbell can be when the reality is he hasn't shown you anything outside of questionable 4th down play calling, questionable late game, mid game decisions, zero ability to make in-game or halftime adjustments. I mean, clock management, taking points when you need them. There is zero common sense, zero conventional football involved with this guy. And how much more do you have to take? How much more before we kind of all just sit here and agree and say, yeah, you know what? He can't coach. Oh, it's not Aidan Hutchinson. Oh, it's not Harris. It's not the team. It's not the injuries. It's not the players. It's not the OC. It's not the DC. When does the guy who's in charge of it all take responsibility?
Right.
And he sits up there after every game. Hey, you know what? 100% on me, man. 100% on me. I've heard that 4 times now. I've heard it 17 times in 22 games. Since you've become a head coach in the NFL, only you have had the most losses with 17 through 22 games. There are 2 rookie coaches who have coached 5 games this year that have as many wins as you do through 22 games. You guys tell me. And if you don't mind, Stick, I hate to bring this example up, but pull up Arthur Smith. You pull up the Falcons roster, you're not convincing me that they're more than capable than you are. They are 9-13 under Arthur Smith. He's gone for it 32 less times than you have on 4th down.
Did you find anybody, because we did this before the season, that said the Bears?
That is disgusting.
Did anybody say the Bears had more talent, at least
Bears don't have more
offensively,
talent. They have
than the
more
Lions?
wins.
They don't.
The Texans have as many wins. They don't have more talent.
With Davis Mills. Yeah, they do.
Week 1 against Philly, it was, we were so close. Damn, this is a good football team. Week 2, you shut out Washington in the first half. You beat them, hell of a job. You look good. You look like the team we thought you would be. Week 3, you blow a game against Minnesota. I didn't hear the talent cries there. I didn't hear about Jeff Okudah in the secondary or anything. All I heard was it was poor clock management, poor fourth down decision making,
right,
and then your defense blowing coverage. I didn't hear anything about talent through 3 weeks. You put up 45 against Seattle, you still lost that game. I didn't hear anything about talent. And we come in Monday morning after a disgusting loss to the New England Patriots. Now it's talent. Now it's, the injuries. Now it's this. Now it's that. Now it's because you got out-coached. Now we need to deflect and have a different conversation because we're not comfortable having a conversation about the reality, which is you have a guy that should be coaching Pop Warner, who should be giving TED Talks, not coaching a national football team.
How much of this do you put on Brad Holmes? I'm bringing
20%.
that up. I think he deserves.
20%.
I think he deserves blame. But
I'll give him some blame. He's not absolved from it, but he's not the problem.
Right.
Coaching matters in the NFL.
Yeah, he's not making decisions on the
field. How through 4 games do you have the number 1 offense in the league? Even though we both agreed it was unsustainable.
Right.
But how do you have the number 1 offense? Through good coaching, right? Mm-hmm. You coached them up. The defense wasn't. Outside of Seattle, the defense gave you a chance, and really Philly. Outside of Seattle and Philly, they gave you a chance. Yeah. Even against New England, you held them to field goals.
Right.
It's always an excuse. Talent this. Decision-making that. The player made this mistake. Aidan Hutchinson isn't keeping mistake. He's not isn't keeping contained, excuse me. He's not making all the right decisions. What are you doing Monday to Saturday, going into Sunday? What are you doing? You want me to blame Brad Holmes? I'll do the Brad Holmes show. We can blame Brad Holmes. Go for it, guys. That's not the play this morning. It just isn't. And neither is, quote, fire Dan Campbell. I told you I would give you an answer in November. Mm-hmm. Granted, I have a good idea of what it is from now. I'm not doing the Dan Campbell thing either. The reality is you are a poorly coached football team, and that's why you're 1-4. No other reason.
And what has been shown to convince you that he won't be Brandon Staley when you get talent? Like, that's the question I'm going to keep bringing up, is the only reason why people right now are making excuses for Dan is because of the lack of talent. Also because your team isn't very good, at least all around as a complete. You look at what the Chargers are right now with Brandon Staley. They have talent, and they're still almost – Brandon Staley's costing them football games. So when is the decision – when do you make that decision? Do you want to wait till you have more talent, and then we could judge Dan Campbell? Because if you know, in my opinion, you know.
Let's play this game. Let's play this game. Okay. Dan Campbell's the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. Kevin O'Connell is the head coach of the Detroit Lions.
Okay.
I would be very confident in saying the Vikings are 1-4, and the Lions are 2-3. That's what I would say. I would even make the case for 3-2. Swap Dable and Campbell. The Giants are 0-5. I'm not joking now, Jeff. The Giants are 0-5, and the Lions are 3-2 or 2-3. That's the reality. And if you can't put that together, you can't wrap it around your head, you can't really think this through, you're making excuses. And that's how you go 58 years with 1 playoff win. Excuses, coddling the coaches, coddling ownership. That's how it happens. This is exactly how it happens. We lost because nobody hits the gritty. One of the best comments I've seen in the chat all day. Oh, man.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think about, too. You bench Amani Warrior. You bench Deshaun Elliott because you want to switch things up on defense. Deshaun Elliott walks into the game at him, comes in for Savion Smith, and was the best player on defense.
Your best secondary player last year was on the bench. Didn't play. Healthy scratch. Rightfully so. I know
he's been playing
struggled
terrible.
a few weeks,
but
but
Deshaun
again,
Elliott,
we give coaching. We only want to give coaching credit. We don't want to criticize them. When you get shut out 29-0, that is coaching. When you give up 48 points and lose in a game where you score 45, that is coaching. When you blow a fourth quarter lead on the road, that is coaching.
Right.
Not the players. Again, do I think this Lions team is a 10-7, 11-6 football team? No, I don't. I said 7-10 going into the year.
Right.
They're not even that right now. Why? Because of coaching. And if you guys can't have that conversation this morning, you're going to go another 58 years sucking.
Just think about that for a second.
Let's get to Aidan Hutchinson when we get back.
Rookie quarterback.
Are you concerned with Aidan Hutchinson? The rookie pass rusher continues his own struggles, not finishing plays.
Yeah, Aiden's
really
struggling
becoming
too.
a non-factor for this team, and that's why you drafted him number 2 overall, was you were looking for an X-factor player. And no, you weren't expecting 12, 13 sacks year one, but you'd expect a lot more than what you've gotten so far, not only in the stat line, but really watching the film. It's worse than even the 3 sacks would lead you to believe through 5 games. That and so much more coming up. But before we do, I got to tell you about our good friends over at Planet Fitness. They are now offering a special $1 $10 a month offer from now till October 14th. So if you act fast, join today in club or online at planetfitness.com. We will be live, Woodward Sports, that is, from Planet Fitness on Ryan Road in Sterling Heights all day on Wednesday, October 26th. We'll give away prizes like Michigan versus Michigan State tickets with 1 free year of the Black Card membership, a signed Darren McCarty, and a signed Braylon Edwards jersey. All that and so much more. We'll see you guys in just a bit.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
When you need apparel, there's only one place to go. Big Frog in Novi. With no setup fees, no artwork fees, no minimum, and a 24-hour turnaround, you can have your whole team outfitted in no time. Embroidery, direct-to-garment, vinyl, and screen printing, Big Frog has it all in all the styles you want. So whether it's a sports team, fundraiser, school event, or corporate needs, Big Frog is your one-stop destination. Visit bigfrog.com/Novi or call 844-4-BIG-FROG.
Let me tell you about our friends at Alta, because, guys, at Alta, uptime matters. Alta Equipment has everything you need to get the job done. You have a big project coming up? Well, Alta Rent has you covered. Call them today, 844-GO-TO-ALTA. That's 844-GO-TO-ALTA today.
And we are back live from Feldman Chevrolet out in Novi here on a Monday morning to be specific. Fall season, the Lions are 1-4. It's been a rough start to the season, but I think there's been a rough start for an individual player that you got to start, I wouldn't say questioning the pick. I'm not there yet. And my reason is simple. I think better coaching gets better production. And right now you're not getting it from anywhere. It's easy to look at the number 2 overall pick and say, you, Aidan Hutchinson, are not doing enough. And I would agree. He's not doing enough. He's not winning his one-on-one matchups. He's basically non-existent. And that is concerning. Coaching, but also I have to be fair and say Aidan Hutchinson is not living up to the billing 5 games into the season.
And it's tough because he doesn't have a ton of help around him on that defensive line, too.
Well, I would take that is say, look at Jalen Ramsey his rookie year. He played well.
It's a DB, but
I understand, but he played really well on a 3-win Jaguars team that Gus Bradley is their coach. So you can still, as an individual, shine, make plays, have good games, even with poor coaching. So for me, Aidan Hutchinson, it's been underwhelming so far to start his career.
Yeah, I mean, the only, I guess, great game was against the Commanders. And we know now, looking back through 5 games, that the Commanders are the most, if not one of the most teams that give it the most sacks. And Carson Wentz is the most sacked quarterback, I believe, right now in the NFL. So how much do you really take from that? I mean, it's hard. I'm not going to say Aiden's a bust. I mean, it's 5 games into his rookie career. But I will say is they got to add more talent on this defensive line. Aidan, if you thought before, I mean, you look at other teams and when they've added defensive linemen, look at Kayvon Thibodeau. Hasn't done much, but he has more talent around him. So I'm not going to fault Aidan, but you're right. He has to step up. I asked this question last week. We need him to step up against New England. I mean, it's the entire defensive line. They didn't get a single quarterback hit yesterday.
You asked him to do it against Seattle, who had one of the worst offensive lines in football going into the game.
Not even that, Adam. 2 rookie tackles. 2 rookie tackles starting in that game. Didn't get a single sack. So, yeah, it's got to play better. But on top of that, he does need more help. I think both can be true.
He needs more help. I would agree. They need to run more stunts. I would agree.
Right.
He needs better coaching. I would agree. But as an individual, the number 2 overall pick, you need to be doing more for me. You need to be putting more pressure.
Because even
look,
when
you haven't seen anything where you're like, man, Aidan's a bust. No, we're not even having that conversation. And I reject that notion completely. But the truth is, he's struggling right now. How much of it is on coaching? How much of it is on play? I think everybody is culpable in this. But again, Jeff, at the end of the day, if I'm a head coach, I'm looking at the Lions defense and saying, oh, Aidan Hutchinson's there? Oh, we have 2 first-round picks going up in the next year? I'm liking that option. I kind of like that idea. Right. Oh, I look at one of the best offensive lines in football. Oh, a creative wide receiving core that is productive. I like what I see. As much as I can get on Aidan Hutchinson, and as much as he does deserve it, I'm just going to pull back.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you one thing. The coaching isn't good enough. Now, you want to hold Dan Campbell, you want to hold Aaron Glenn accountable. You guys can all make any excuse in your mind in the world why things aren't working. At the end of the day, your football team is getting outcoached every weekend. The only week you outcoached somebody was Minnesota, was the Washington game. And I would say for a majority of the Minnesota game. But what'd you do? You do what bad coaches do. You make bad decisions in the fourth quarter. You give a team an opportunity to beat you, and they beat you.
And the flip side of that is you could even put it from a coaching perspective. You put guys in the right position, they still need to make a play. They got to make a play. And they don't have guys right now, especially on the defensive line, that are making plays. Charles Harris, I didn't think he played at all. And you have Aidan Hutchinson, who's struggling. And my only rebuttal to that would be, look at when the Lions drafted Ndamukong Suh, number 2 overall. Yes, he was much more dominant in college. But still, if you look at it, what he walked into, that Lions defensive line at the time, and compare it right now to what the Lions have on their defensive line. It's 2 different scenarios. Ndamukong Suh was still an alpha on that defensive line, but he had help around him.
Jeff, I want to get to
Aidan
the people
does not
a
have
bit.
that right now.
I want to get to the
truth.
people, but I want to ask you a question.
Yes, what's up?
What did the Jets start the year on?
What do you mean, the record?
What were the Jets start the year?
It was like 0-2?
Yep.
And
what are they now?
They are 3-2.
Last I checked, when the Jets were 0-2, who was getting all the heat? Robert Saleh? Yes or no? Head coach?
He was getting
He's
heat.
head coach, right?
It all falls in. Yeah.
Oh, Robert Saleh's getting the fire. That they have a backup in, or not that. What's his name? Mike LaFleur, I believe Matt LaFleur's brother.
Yep, Mount Pleasant.
Not the OC.
Mount Pleasant native.
See, it's only in Detroit that we blame the OCs and the defensive coordinators because we don't want to touch our beloved head coach, who's 4-17-1, who's through his first 22 games, led the NFL in, 2 major categories, losses and going forward on 4th down. Congratulations. Those are the 2 categories you really want to be leading the league in through 22 games. So well done, Dan. So you guys can ask for the players to do more, and I can agree with that. The players do have to do a better job. Whose responsibility is it to get the players to play at a level that is acceptable, 1 and 2 above their own level? Coaches. And you don't have good coaching. And you can spin the wagon around all you want. You can keep going and going and going.
Right.
The reality is nobody in the league is blaming their OC or their defensive coordinator. It's just in Detroit because you're sorry losers. And you can't accept the fact that your head coach just isn't it. And I get it. Nobody wanted 22 games into this new regime for anybody to be having this conversation. Believe me, I get it. But the fact that you want to blame an OC who, through 4 games, had you as the highest leading scoring team in the NFL, if I do recall, top 5 in all the major categories, you want to blame the OC or, hey, we're going to blame Aaron Glenn instead of the guy that's in charge of all of them. I use the Netflix example all the time. Netflix decides to fire their CEO today. They hire a new one. 12 months in, they are down 13% in revenue. Whose fault is that? The head of sales? The head of marketing? Is it the janitor? Is it the employees? Is it the tech people? Is it the R&D people? No, it's the CEO. That's it. It's the CEO. That's the reality. And you don't want to eat. You don't want to eat. You don't want to accept that reality. That is a problem you have here in Detroit. But I promise you, around the league, nobody's looking at Arthur Smith, Robert Saleh, any of these coaches and saying, man, if only they had a better offensive coordinator, if only they had a better defensive coordinator. Oh, it's the talent. No, it's not. No, it's not. You're being outcoached on Sundays. You go for it disproportionately more than any head coach in the NFL does on fourth down. Through 22 games since you've become the head coach, you lead the NFL in two categories, losses and fourth down attempts. When do you look yourself in the mirror and say, you know what? Probably not the guy. Probably a really good TED Talk speaker. Could probably motivate the hell out of a high school football team. Has no business coaching a professional football team.
What was his job when he came here? It was to change the culture. And we always talk about that.
How do you change the culture, Jeff?
How do you do it?
You win.
It's wins. And I'm not saying you got to win.
Jim Caldwell didn't change the culture.
Right.
No division titles, no playoff wins. This town doesn't care for 6, 7, 8 wins, 9 wins. Go win a division. Go compete for the division consistently.
Now, will that happen this year? No. But to be 1-4 through 5 games, I don't think anybody expected this.
This is the easiest part of your schedule.
You had 3 out of the first 4 games at home.
You were outcoached.
At home.
Think about this. You were outcoached.
Right.
You couldn't stop Geno Smith. You were outcoached. My goodness.
You were outcoached by 2 conservative coaches back-to-back weeks.
You gave up 29 points to an offense that going into the week had scored 14 points a game.
Bailey Zapp's first start.
It's talent, though. It's not the head coach's fault. It's the offensive coordinator's fault for scoring 0. It's the defensive coordinator's
there's a lot of blame
for scoring, for allowing 29. It's the player's fault. It's Aidan Hutchinson's fault. It's Jared Goff's fault. It's everybody's fault except the guy that's in charge. Boy, I didn't know how that works.
Yeah.
I didn't know that's how it worked. Tim Cook resigns from Apple. They bring in a new guy. Apple comes out with a new product. Horrible ratings. Is it on the developers? Is it on the product development people? No, it's not. It's on the CEO. What do you know? That's why you get paid the millions, and that's why at the end of the year, Jeff, the head coach gets credit with the wins and losses. That's why the head coach gets to lift the Lombardi Trophy at the end of the year. Not the offensive coordinator, not the defensive coordinator, not the tight ends coach, the head coach of your football team.
Right.
But it's the player's fault. It's the OC's fault. It's the DC's fault. I get it, guys. We're going to play that game. 1-4. Pathetic. Pathetic. Wish I could say I was surprised. When we get back, the AP poll released their top 25. Michigan fall to number 5 in the weekend. Clemson move up to 4. Ohio State, I'm not sure how they don't have them number 1. To me, they're the best team in the country. We'll recap college football a little bit. And then at 9:41, the number 1 concern we both have going into the bye week. That and so much more coming up. But before we do, Jeff, our good friends over at Big Frog.
Big Frog, you can get a free Woodward Sports t-shirt. That's right, a free Woodward Sports t-shirt all month long at Big Frog and Novi. Stop in, tell them we sent you, and they will print one out for you on the spot. So go to Big Frog and Novi today. Tell them your friends at Woodward Sports sent you, and they'll hook you up. Or you can visit them online at bigfrog.com/Novi.
For a limited time only, all new burgers and loaded fries at Big Boy. It's not a Slim Jim, it's the Big Jim. The chili cheese is such a tease. Guess what else is new? The bacon blue. How about upgrading those fries? Chili cheese fries, baked potato fries, nacho fries. What will it be? Satisfy those taste buds at Big Boy.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Hello? Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper. Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Michael Phillips, looking to buy or sell your home. Whether you're a player or a fan, helping you buy, sell, or invest is Michael Phillips' top priority. Being in the game for over 23 years makes Michael Phillips your number 1 option. If you have real estate needs, call Michael Phillips at 313-403-0011. That's 313-403-0011. Sorry about that, Jeff. Oh, man. We are back here on the Morning Woodward Show over at woodwardsports.com, live Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Thank you to everybody in the Woodward Sports chat. We appreciate it. Jeff, AP Top 25 poll released. Michigan falls out. They're now number 5 on the list. I don't like what the committee's doing here. And when I say the committee, I'm not talking about the college football playoff committee, but really the voters, the voting committee here, to pull back Michigan, who won by 21, on the road, to a Clemson team that has not looked better than Michigan has this year. I question a little bit, but I also know what they're doing now, right? They're basically telling you, this is our college football playoff. They're telling me that if both these teams run the table and Georgia loses to Bama in the SEC title game, those two are getting in if they both run the table. Now, if they both are a one-loss team or one team is undefeated, the other is not, like last year, and the team that did have a loss wins, then we're probably going to let both get in. And then we're going to have an undefeated or a one-loss ACC champion in, along with an undefeated or one-loss Big Ten team. So right now, what the committee, I should say the voters and the AP poll at least are telling me, not the college football playoff committee, what they're telling me is we're not going to have a one-loss Big Ten team in here. We're preparing ourselves for Georgia. We're preparing ourselves for Alabama, for an undefeated Clemson, and dare I say an undefeated USC. And then we have to deal with a one-loss Big Ten champion, likely Ohio State or Michigan, or maybe Ohio State or Michigan do run the table. Who knows? Regardless, you have a very difficult situation on your hand. Now, do I think Clemson's going to continue the streak? No, I don't think Clemson run the table this year. They will fall off. Do I think Michigan should be able to run the table up until Ohio State? I do. But now the question becomes, if Georgia and Bama go head-to-head, you got to make a tough call there.
Yeah, you do.
It's going to be very difficult to leave one of them out. You got to have the Big Ten champion in, which will likely be Ohio State. That's already 3 teams. So now you got to choose between a Pac-12 champion, an ACC champion, or a one-loss potentially Michigan or Ohio State. That is a very, very, very difficult thing to do. I can't wait for the College Football Playoff Committee to come out with theirs. But so far, this AP poll really has me questioning at least what they're setting us up for moving forward.
And this is my opinion on it. I get where you're coming from, but if you look at the difficulty of schedule, look at the top 4 teams right now. The reason why Clemson has the nod over Michigan is look who they played. Clemson has played the 21-ranked Wake Forest at the time and 10th-ranked NC State. They beat them both. Michigan hasn't played a single-ranked team. That's just the reality of it. Now, they play Penn State next week, which might be one of the best games to date in college football, but that's the reality of it. I don't think Michigan, when it's all said and done, I still have them making the playoff. But you're right, Adam. There's going to be some tough decisions made. USC just won, and they're still ranked below Tennessee because of who they beat.
I don't like the position they're putting us in, and I'll tell you why.
Okay, tell me.
If Clemson is an undefeated ACC champion,
yeah,
be my guest. I'll open the door. You're allowed to go in. If USC is an undefeated Pac-12 champion, I'll open the door. But what does that set the committee up for? And let's just go with the AP poll voters for now. They're telling me that Alabama and Georgia are going to get in regardless if they lose a game. I don't like that. But this is why they're expanding the college football playoff.
Absolutely.
But to me, I'm sorry, it's 1, 2, 3, and there is a huge gap after that. It is Georgia, Bama, and Ohio State, and I think Ohio State is the best team in the country right now, Jeff.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question. I mean, you see Alabama right now, Bryce Young had the shoulder injury, and even Georgia, like to a certain extent, they've been struggling the last 2 games. I know yesterday they got a winner, 2 days ago, but you're right. I mean, Ohio State might be the best team right now in college football. I know Joe Klatt said that, but I tend to agree with him. Offensively, they're their best offense right now in college football. They still don't have Jackson Smith-Njigba, and they're still producing. And on top of that, defensively, they're better than they were last year. So I'm with you, Adam. I think Ohio State's the best team in the country, but I'm curious to see if Michigan can jump Clemson for that 4th spot.
Again, when the committee comes out with their first top 4, I'm very curious because
if they beat Penn State this week.
Again, if you're going to tell me we're going to bring in 2 SEC teams this year, fine. Just know you're likely leaving out a Pac-12, one-loss Pac-12 champion, or a one-loss Michigan or Ohio State, who will probably be in the top 4, top 5 all year. I don't like it, but like I said, I don't expect Clemson to run the table. Let's pivot back a little bit to Dan Campbell and the Lions. I'm hearing a lot about Brad Holmes. Brad Holmes didn't sign in, didn't bring in any big-name free agents, didn't address the holes on this team, didn't do this, didn't do that, yada, yada, yada. Fine. Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes, since he's come in, has addressed your salary cap needs, has drafted viable options that are starting on your team. I didn't hear complaining about Penei Sewell or Amon-Ra St. Brown. Aidan Hutchinson not playing to the standard you want from a number 2 overall pick, but again, they're 5 games in, not killing the pick yet. The truth is, what Brad Holmes positioned you to do is go out and win 7 games. 8, 9 if you were overachieving. But you are a 7-win football team this year. And you know what you're on pace to do right now, Jeff? You're on pace to go 3-14. You're on pace to go 3-14, and you want to talk to me about the GM. With the coach that is under-delivering by 4 games. Vegas had the over at 6.5. Vegas had the over-under at 6.5. You're not even on pace to win that. We want to talk about the GM. Well, you know, he didn't hire anybody, didn't bring in anybody to replace Anzalone. The secondary players, they're relying on Jeff Okudah to come in and be a number 1. Deshaun Elliott. Michael Brockers, Charles Harris aren't doing much for you. Yeah, the injuries don't help. Welcome to the NFL. Everybody's always hurt.
Right.
For anything you want to bring up about Brad Holmes, which in some cases is totally fair, we're not having a GM conversation on a Monday morning 5 games into the season. I have a football coach that's getting outcoached, that has no idea what he's doing, and all he's good for is sitting up there and giving a TED Talk. That's it. That's it. Now, does Brad Holmes need to bring in some 2, 3, 4 veteran free agents in the offseason?
Yes.
Does he need to hit again on 2, 3 picks in the draft, which is very difficult to do, but he's done it already? Yeah, he does need to do that.
But that's what he positioned you to do this offseason.
You're on, and you are regressing. You're not even on your own timeline.
Right.
It's 6 years, Adam. They deserve 6 years. Nobody gets 6 years in the NFL. Panthers are going to fire Matt Rule. That's coming. That's going to happen.
Yeah, he should have already been fired. But
he should be, but regardless of the point.
He should be fired, yeah.
You're 1-4. You're on pace to win 3 games. The hardest 5-game stretch of your season is coming up right now. You very well be 2-8, 10 games into the year. And we're still going to be talking about, the timeline. You're not even on pace to do what you're supposed to be doing. I didn't hear a talent issue against Philly. I didn't hear the complaints about talent after you beat down Washington. I didn't hear the talents when you dominated for 4 quarters against Minnesota, but then you threw away the game because of your head coach. I didn't hear the talent issue when your offense put up 45 last week. I'm only hearing the talent issue now because you got embarrassed and shut out in Foxborough. And you can't bring your mind around the idea that, our head coach just isn't good enough.
Right.
So we gotta deflect. It's Ben Johnson's fault. It's Aaron Glenn's fault.
Jared Goff's fault.
Aidan Hutchinson. Jared Goff, man, he sucked. Amon-Ra St. Brown was limited. It's everybody's fault except the guy that gets paid the most to coach this team.
And makes the decisions.
Right?
Right.
Isn't that funny? Brian Dable, Kevin Stefanski have coached 5 games in the NFL. 5 games in the NFL. They have as many wins as Dan Campbell does through 22 games.
Well, those guys were coordinators. Dan's never been a coordinator.
Doug Peterson has 2 wins already. He has half the amount of wins Dan Campbell has in 5 games coached with the Jaguars. They were the worst team in football last year. Look, put that back up. Please, God, do, yes. 5 games coached. Look at this Baldy on the screen. He has as many, he's gone for it 4 times. That's as many wins as you have in 22 games.
4 times in 4 games. And Daniel Jones, again, didn't throw a touchdown pass.
Brian Dable takes over an average defense, an below-average offense, no wide receivers. Reese James is their number 1.
Right.
A rookie tight end, a makeshift offensive line with some good offensive linemen on it. Saquon Barkley coming off another injury, and he somehow has his team 4-1. They go on the road, even though it was in London, and they beat the Packers. Are you kidding me? But it's talent. It is talent, guys. You're right. It's the GM's fault. It's not the head coach.
Because Brad Holmes knew. I mean, Adam, you know this. He knew Levi would be on the brink of retirement, and he knew Josh Pascal wouldn't be here. So clearly, no, it's not Brad Holmes. I get if you want to, delegate some of that blame to Brad Holmes. That's fine with me. But to say it's Brad Holmes, again, it's deflecting blame. Brad Holmes, it's so funny. Weeks ago, Brad Holmes is one of the best general managers we've ever had.
I have more faith in my mother.
And now it's the complete opposite.
Decisions for this football team than I do with Dan Campbell.
Brad Holmes hasn't even gotten an offseason to spend money yet. He hasn't. So for people that want to crap on Brad Holmes, that's fine. You could die on that hill.
Early. I think it's
way too early.
Draft one, he gives you St. Brown, he gives you Penei Sewell.
Right.
Teams would kill for 2 perennial Pro Bowlers in one draft. He did that at draft 1. Draft 2, yet to see Pascal, yet to see Jamison Williams. You expect Jamison Williams to really be, the wide receiver your team does
And if you
need.
watch Sunday, now you know why they drafted Jamison Williams.
And you look at it and you ask yourself, hey, you know what? I get it now.
Right.
Aidan Hutchinson hasn't been what you expected. Yes, I'll agree 100%. It's been underwhelming. Coaching is the problem. Not the GM, not hell, even ownership. You can look at Joey. You can look at Ryan from Feldman. You can look at anybody. It's none of these people's fault. It's your coaching's fault. Your coaching sucks. Your team is poorly coached. That's it. Let's go to break. When we get back, our number one concern going into the bye week, that and so much more. And then we'll get to Mailbag at 9:50. But before we do, Jeff, our good friends over at the Sports Marketing Agency.
Well, guys, if you need help after what you just saw Sunday, I have the place for you to go. It's SMA, the Sports Marketing Agency. They help spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. Their new podcast, This is the F Word, or excuse me, This is the S Word, will help fight the stigma about seeking help. If you or someone you know is struggling, please tell them or yourself. Head to thesportsma.com for more information.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
Guys, I got something to tell you. Honestly, after watching Sunday and watching Jared Goff, you want to go to Fulling, you want to go throw a football at some bowling pins, I got a place for you. Fulling Warehouse in Hamtramck is the home of the original football bowling game. 2 to play for $12, the unlimited open play, or they have the $120 lane reservation and full bar. Check it all out, fullingwarehouse.com.
All right, we are back live here on a beautiful Monday morning out at Feldman Chevrolet here in Novi. Make sure you guys come check us out. We got Big D Energy going live from 11:01 today.
Yep.
Neil Rule, Darren McCarty, Terry Foster. Should be fun.
Breaking down the cap space, Neil Rule.
I'm not ready for tanking season. I'm not ready for any of that talk. I'm not ready for the mock drafts. But I got to ask you, Jeff, you've seen 5 games now. Here's the bye week. What is the number one concern for you going into the bye week?
It's coaching. I mean, there's no question. It's coaching. I mean, if we've watched these last 5 games, I get talent is an issue, but that's not something we didn't already know before. I mean, you saw this defense, and you saw the lack thereof, especially on the defensive line, the talent they have. But coaching. Because what can overcome talent? Coaching. Because you saw the offense be number 1 in the league for 4 straight games, and now they lay a dud against New England. It's coaching. It's not just Dan. It's Ben Johnson. It's everybody. But Dan is in charge, so it's on Dan. For me, my biggest worry, Adam, is coaching. And on top of that, if you want to go past that, you could bring up the defense. But even that, you don't know what you're getting. This team has yet to put together a complete game. Either it's offensively it's either defensively, up until yesterday, it's offensively. So it's got to fall on coaching. If you have any other criticisms of this team moving forward, if you want to bring up Jared Goff, okay. I mean, the guy was one of the best quarterbacks till this day in the NFL. You look at statistically, to be tied in the NFL with passing touchdowns, to be top 5 in yards, to be top 10 in QBR, probably not the same anymore. But up until yesterday, Jared Goff's not your issue. This offense isn't your issue. Defensively, if you want to bring up talent, that's fine. But for me, Adam, it's coaching. And that goes for everybody. It's not just Dan Campbell. Coaching is my biggest issue. And that's what I need to see a fixed moving forward if you even want to win one of these next 3 games. Because I don't see it happening. Kick a damn field goal. I mean, can we start there?
I've got nothing to say. I mean, you said everything I would say. So well
What's
done.
your concern? Is it coaching?
That is, yeah.
Yeah,
of course
I mean, we're on the same page there. Yeah.
This is the last issue you want with a football team. Regressing. Inconsistent play. What is that on? What do we always attribute that to? Coaching. And again, I find it hard that I have to sit here.
Right.
And have a conversation where we're uncomfortable saying it's coaching. Why? What is so difficult for everybody to understand here? It's talent. It's Brad Holmes. It's the play of the rookies. It's all these things. But that wasn't the case week 1 after Philly. It wasn't the case at halftime against Washington when Hutchinson had 3 sacks and your team was putting a ton of pressure on Wentz and you were up 22-0. Again, I am deeply concerned with coaching. And again, I'm going to read off the list. Dan Campbell, 4-17-1 through 22 games. Kevin Stefanski, Brian Dable, rookie coaches this year have coached 5 games. They have as many wins. Rookie coaches that have more wins this season than Dan Campbell does. This season alone. Matt Eberflus in the Bears, Nathaniel Hackett in the Broncos, Dennis Allen in the Saints, Doug Peterson in the Jaguars, Mike McDaniel and the Miami Dolphins. The only rookie coach that has been as bad as Dan Campbell is Lovie Smith. And we all know Lovie Smith is a 1-year stopgap rental in Houston. Arthur Smith, 8-13, or excuse me, 9-13.
And Houston,
and his 2 years with the Atlanta Falcons.
And Houston's been fighting too. You watch some of these Houston
they fight.
games.
Yeah, I think Lovie Smith is gone at the end of the year, but again, to each their own.
It's been close.
The truth is, this is a poorly coached football team.
Right.
That's my number one concern. And my number one concern is they're going to have 2 weeks to prepare for Dallas, and it won't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It just won't matter. Because Dallas will come out. They may not start fast.
I think Dak will be back.
Dak will likely be back, yes.
So
I think Cooper Rush starts this upcoming Sunday.
Yeah.
And then the follow. What do you do in Dallas, by the way? If Rush improves to 5-0, this was the Dak Tony Romo issue. Remember, granted, Cooper Rush is not a rookie, 3rd-round pick, yada, yada, yada. But, I mean, this is
But he's a game manager, and they're winning games.
They look better with Rush right now than they have looked with Dak. And that's saying something. So
they'll lose to either one of them. I mean, if Dak, Cooper, Rush, they're losing. There's no way. There's no way. You're going to Jerry World.
Stick, if you don't mind.
They haven't won on the road yet.
Throw up the David Culley. The David Culley comparison. And I just want you, just let that sink in. Let that sink in. David Culley, year 1 was 4-13. Dan Campbell, 3-13-1. Let that sink in. This man was fired in a clear rebuild. Fired year 1. They bring in Lovie Smith. Lovie Smith will be the next one to be fired. He has as many wins as your current football coach, and he's coached 5 less games. He's out of the league right now. I brought up Dable. You can go to Sirianni. Sirianni takes an slightly above average roster. They fight and grind their way to the playoffs last year. Hell of a job. They make the wild card. And then this year, they are now looking like the best team in football. They're 5-0. But I, as a Detroit Lions fan, have to wait 6 years because it was a 6-year contract. I have to wait 6 years for this team to have a winning record, right? That's only fair. Everybody's allowed to win football games. The Giants look like they're going to contend for a wild card spot. The Vikings are going to go out and win the division. And I have to sit here and say, oh, you know what? There's always next year. We'll just got to give Dan time. Ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But it's okay, right? That's how you go 58 years with 1 playoff win. You just, it's always next year, and there's always next year, and there's always next year. And then you're 58, you're on your deathbed, you hate your kids because you never watched the Lions do anything in your damn life, and now I'm on that pace. Probably in 30 years from now, I'm going to want to kill myself. Who knows? So here we are.
You just want to see some football games, man.
Please don't kill yourself.
When we get back, Mailbag, we'll go out of the... Oh, wow. Excuse me. We'll go to all the great people in the WoodwardSports.com chat. We'll get your questions answered. Jeff Iafrate, myself, Adham.
Ooh, it's going to be some good questions today.
Live from Feldman Chevrolet here in Novi on a tough Monday morning for Detroit Lions fans. Shout out by Matt Patricia, Bill Belichick, and the New England Patriots. You can't write this. You couldn't script this in Hollywood. You couldn't. It could only happen this way.
And Jelani Tavai tied with total tackles? Oh, of course. It just gets better and better and better, doesn't it?
Oh, God. When we get back, that and so much more. But before we do, I got to tell you guys about Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime for an award-winning haircut. Their stylists will take care of you like they take care of me. So make sure you don't waste any time. Open 7 days. No appointment necessary. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Hey, it's Sean Jordan from the Sports Marketing Agency. And SMA wouldn't be who we are without our amazing partners.
Thank you so much, Sean. At Detroit Wayne, we want to serve as a resource for you and your families. We offer mental health services, substance use disorder services throughout our communities, and we want to be that source and resource within the community.
If you or a loved one are suffering from a mental health or substance abuse issue, please don't hesitate to call 1-800-241-4949.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. Because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network.
All right, we're back here on the Morning Woodward Show. Let's get to Mailbag, Jeff. Let's pull some questions from the people in the Woodward Sports chat. What do we got this morning?
Mailbag. What if what we've seen the first 3 weeks was the best the team could do on both sides of the ball? Then what is it? Coaching, players, or upper management?
Again, I find it difficult to look
That's
at
my
upper
funky.
management and the GM when you're being
Right.
outcoached on the field. Again, what are we doing here? This doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm really not sure what other answer I can give outside of I think you're a poorly coached football team right now.
Tony D asks, Jeff and Adam, why do you think we haven't heard from our GM in light of a bad run in coaching mistakes? I think Brad, the point of it is just like letting it play out. I don't think Brad, what would he even do, butting in and putting his input right now? Let the coaches figure it out. And I think you'll hear Brad at the end of the season when everything's said and done. I think it's too early for Brad to butt in and give his input. They're 1-4. This team could still turn it around. And by turn it around, I mean win a couple more games. I mean, they'll be 1-7 like I predicted by the 8th game. Trust me. Trust me on that. But I don't think Brad should butt in and say anything. I don't think it would help. It's up to Dan Campbell. Go win a game. Let's see here. Nick Burke, Jeff and Adam, do you think we should trade Fox for a kicker? Doesn't materialize, won't use either.
No. Hey, FYI, we don't kick field goals here in Detroit. We don't believe in it. 3 points? I've never heard of that in my life.
Yeah, and by the way, if Bill Belichick calls your punter a weapon and you don't use him, I don't know. That's just me. Next question. Mailbag, is it time to fire Dan? No, I don't think so. I think it's too early to fire Dan. But certainly, it's okay to ask questions. That's what the whole point of what we talk about is. You ask questions. And I think right now, Dan Campbell deserves to be asked about. No question about it. Let's see. Mailbag, with all the injuries, do you think we need to look at the trainers? I think, you know what, I have a theory on this.
I swear to God, it's only in Detroit.
No, I have a theory.
Only in Detroit. Is
Hold
it
on.
the trainer? Is it the talent?
No,
is it the OC, the DC?
No, this goes back to Dan for me. You saw all training camp and before the season, them practicing with pads on. I'm curious to see if that's catching up to them because you look around the league, a lot of starters didn't even play in the preseason. Lions did. They played some of their guys. Even before that at training camp, you watched during Hard Knocks, they were padded up. So I'm curious to see if those are kind of lingering into the season and guys are getting injured. I mean, it could go back to Dan Campbell again.
Oh, man. All right, let's
see. What do we got
else
here?
we got here. Let the coaching figure it out. I don't think that's been working. Yeah, that's the point. Coaching's not working. It's not fixing anything. That's your job as a head coach. Oh, my
Mailbag
goodness.
by Jesse. Will Braylon say, I told you guys? Oh, well, yeah, he will say that. Brad Holmes should have brought in.
Didn't Braylon ask for, like, the Honey Badger?
He said Honey Badger or Bobby Wagner to
And
help
Allen
out this
Robinson
defense
and
today
Bobby
at 2:15-ish. I'm
Wagner?
going to say yes.
You can't convince free agents to come play for a 2-win football team.
Yeah, there's zero chance
You can convince
that's
free
happening.
agents to come to this town, one with a paycheck, and two, if you're, 7-10, 8-9, looking to turn into a contender. Not 3-13-1. Oh, and you have limited cap space because of all the dead money. Doesn't add up to me.
By the way,
Doesn't add up to me.
Wasim talking about, am I wrong to think the Pistons are still a 32-win team? They have nice players. Absolutely, you're not. I'm with you. I picked, 32, 33 wins? People can have play-in expectations. That's not me. I think there's going to be a lot of ups and downs this year with the Pistons, and I think 32 is very fair. That would be almost a 10-win improvement from last year, so we'll take that.
Fair enough. Let's see. I wish we could go back to Hard Knocks and relive that hype.
No, and this is the thing, too, and I love Booner, so I get what
goodness.
he's saying. People who want to say, well, you guys bought into the Hard Knocks hype. No, I didn't. My prediction didn't change post and pre-Hard Knocks. There was no change in my prediction. I just wanted to see improvement. And then by improvement, I didn't mean 1-7 instead of 0-8 by Green Bay. So again, I mean, people want to say that. If you guys bought into Hard Knocks hype, that's fine. I did not. I don't think you did either. Opinions never changed all through Hard Knocks. What do we got
Fair
here?
enough. Let's see what else we got here. Do we attempt to bring in Bill Cowher? Nope. You're not going to pull some. You're just not at this point. We're not going to talk about who, which coach, why, when. It's way too early in the season. The reality is I have 22 games that suggest to me, and not suggest, they tell me Dan Campbell doesn't know how to coach. It's that simple, whether you want to admit it or not. Let's see, Adam, will you give me cash for making my fall weekends unbearable because you're rooting for the Lions and MSU? Jesse, that's a you problem, not me. Let's see what else we have here. Technically improving 1-7 is better than 0-8. You know what, Mike? I like the attitude this morning.
No, they'll be one. I'm telling you right now, they'll be 1-7 after that Green Bay game.
Guys,
I
you
really
need
do
to
believe
understand something. When I come out and tell you, hey, this is a 7-win football team, I like what it's looking like, right? I like the talent. I don't think it's the most talented team, but I like where it's going. I like some of the pieces you have. I love the offense. I think it's going to be a pain in the ass to play against, yada, yada, yada. When I tell you all this, and then you're 1-4 through 4 football games, or 5 football games, excuse me, and your coach looks like he has no idea what he's doing, that doesn't change what I thought. I still think it's the same team that could very well win 7 games if they had the correct coaching. That's that simple.
Now you're getting into some treaded waters right now in the schedule.
It's that simple.
Yeah. No,
this
I'm with you.
team is 1, better than their record, but 2, they're not able to be better than their record. Why? Because they are poorly coached.
Something's holding them back.
Not something. Someone.
I was hoping you'd say that.
Poorly coached team. It's not hard to figure out.
Is holding them back. Let's see here. Not saying holding them back from playoffs. I want the people when they hear that, they're like, "Well, you have too high of expectations for this team." Not really.
7 wins.
Not really.
What
Double
a
your
high
win total.
expectation.
Double your win total.
7-10. Wow. Excuse me.
That's all we
Asking
need.
for too much.
Just double your win total.
The team got better in the offseason. You added more bodies. You got healthier. You had Swift. You had Okudah coming back. All the things I was told. Hutchinson, breakout year. He looked like Eric Ebron again all over. So, nothing changed. Back to being Eric Ebron. 1 catch, 8 yards. Congratulations. Unbelievable, dude. Unbelievable.
My Lord. I love this comment, by the way.
Go for
it. I forgot the username. I'm trying to find it. Cy Guy Bry. He says, Giants fan here. It is coaching. Trust me.
Oh, where's that comment? I'm going to make him an admin.
Cy Guy Bry says, Giants fan here. It is coaching.
God
Trust me.
bless the perspective. Thank you for blessing the morning
Giants.
chat with somebody with a different perspective. Because, yes, if I'm a Giants fan, I'm looking at the roster and I'm saying, we're overachieving right now. If I'm a Falcons fan and I'm looking, we're overachieving
Keep going,
right now.
Jets. Keep
I
going.
can go to the Jets and Robert, overachieving.
Keep going.
But for some reason in Detroit, Dan Campbell, I don't want to criticize him. I like him. He makes me feel good. Don't win a damn football game, you goddamn loser. 17 losses in 22 games. My mother could have the same record through 22 games. What a joke.
Yeah, she might be able to sneak
what
one
a
win
joke.
off.
And then I have to hear it's a talent issue. I thought you have one of the better tight ends in football. I thought you have one of the best offensive lines in football. I thought you had the best offense going into Sunday. What happened to that? What happened to your defense? I didn't hear any complaints about the defense against Washington. Hell, I didn't hear anything about the defense in Minnesota. Well, now that it's 1-4 and your Campbell looks like a bozo, or excuse me, your coach looks like a bum. Now it's, oh my God, I don't want to have this conversation.
Because the reality just set in.
Welcome to life. Welcome to reality. Like I said, Netflix, get rid of their CEO. They're bringing the new guy. New guy, year over year, they're down 13, 20, 30% in revenue. Who gets fired? Is it the janitor? Is it the salesman? Is it the head of sales? Is it the head of marketing? No, it's the CEO. The CEO is the problem. Sorry, guys.
Sorry.
That's it. I am done.
Okay.
I am done.
Tomorrow?
This guy sucks.
Tomorrow
the
we're going
phone
to the
lines
people.
are open.
We're going to the people tomorrow.
Tomorrow the phone lines are open. You guys are all more than welcome to call in. 313-552-6322. Big D Energy live here at Feldman Chevrolet here in Novi from 11 to 1. Make sure you check them out. Can't wait to hear what Neil, Terry, and Darren have to say. That's it for us. Thank you for everybody for joining us over at woodwardsports.com and the
Shout out
Woodward
to Feldman.
Sports chat. Thank you to Feldman for having us out
Beautiful
here.
setup.
You all have a great rest of your day. I'm going to go drink bourbon.
Go watch Thanksgiving football. Maybe we should do watching Thanksgiving football.